streaming. And start streaming. There we go. I believe we should be live. YouTube says we are. And so does Twitch, by the looks of it. And there we go. Yes, we are. Lovely to see. Hi, everyone. Welcome in. Oh, actually, I should also post on Discord, shouldn't I? There we go. We're live. There we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome in. Yes. Hi. Hello. For once, we are on time. Like, dead on time. Right as it ticked over to 30, I pressed start streaming, so we're live and we're on time, so hells yeah. And we are live on a Thursday evening for some PoE time, and I'm excited for it. We'll be watching the stream along. We have drops enabled. It's gonna be good. I'm excited. I will wait a little bit to have people filter in, or give people a chance to filter in, and we'll do a little bit of chatting beforehand. I have everything set up. Everything should be working, or at least the things that we're gonna work should work. It's not everything works like I had planned, but in comparison to like yesterday, a lot more stuff works, so that's fantastic. I'm genuinely excited. Like I'm excited for the stream itself, not necessarily the PoE 2 announcement. We'll see how that goes. It's gonna be an announcement one way or another. We are getting a new expansion and a new league. We're getting a new class. We already know the Druid, because the title of the expansion is The Last of the Druids. Yeah, Last of the Druids. We're getting a new Druid. Like, yeah, we're getting a Druid. Of course we are. If they're gonna name an expansion Last of the Druids and not drop a Druid, that's gonna be weird. So we're getting the Druid finally, and we will hopefully get some cool balance updates. We're also getting a new league, which is looking like it has something to do with a character from PoE 1 named Azeri, Queen of the Val. So I think they also announced the expansion or the league name, something like something of the Val, I think. I haven't been super keeping up with it, but yeah, we'll see how things go. We will definitely play the new expansion. We will definitely play that on stream as well. We will do a going live thing for the expansion. Like we'll do a stream for that. We'll play for a little bit. That will be the same day that we do the Game Awards. We'll do a rewatch of the Game Awards, and then we'll play some PoE. And then the day after, we will play some more PoE. The day after, we'll play some more PoE, because that's what I've set it up to do. So that's gonna be fun. And yeah, we will do. Okay, I saw some frames being dropped there. We will do some more streaming on PoE. It'll be great. I'm excited for it. I don't know if GGG is normally, right, for a PoE expansion or a league, GGG will, generally speaking, have a at least some sort of teaser season, what some people call it, which would be, apparently the encoder is overloading. Why are we dropping so many frames? Oof. Also, the music was paused, dang it. I should probably turn down the encoder a little bit, as it is struggling for some reason. I don't know why. So let me just quickly see if we can't do that real quick. Let's put this to 23. That should already be a little bit better. Yeah, I know the encoder is overloaded because I just changed the settings. Give it some time. You'll be fine. Wow, even there it's... I don't know why it's so frame droppy. I don't think I have much interesting open. Except for the PoE stream itself, but you know, that's gonna be what it is. That's fine. Grab that in 1080. No idea. God damn it, it is really dropping. Okay, I will change the output, I suppose. Let's crank that down to 15K, I suppose. That's fine. Let's see if... what is going on? Why is 3D being used on my GPU? That's weird. That's wild. Yeah, I don't have much interesting open. Close that down. I mean, maybe I can close Steam if we need to, but let's do it like this for now and hope that it'll be fine. We'll hope that it's fine. Seems stable, so yeah. Anyway, I did have some topics prepared because we do have, let's see, 23 minutes until the stream for PoE 2 starts. So we'll talk about some topics that I've prepared. First off, I do want to let you all know that this will be a relatively short stream. I don't expect this to be super long. Usually GGG has what's it called? Drops for a certain amount of time, and that usually corresponds with the length of the actual like announcement. That now is 45 minutes, which is for a GGG stream pretty short. For an expansion, it's pretty short. Usually for like a bigger expansion, you're looking at an hour, hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours. 45 minutes is nothing. So it has kind of killed the sort of, well, not hype, but like it's made me a little bit cautious, right? So we'll see how that goes. We'll have a yo Hoxie Poo, new soldier who dis. Well, I'm same old soldier, you know, but you know. Hello, Hoxie Poo, how you doing? How's things? But yeah, as I was saying, it should be a relatively short stream, a couple hours probably. We'll do the Q&A. We'll watch the Q&A as well. Usually some juicy info in that you don't get during the reveal stream. So I'm excited to try that out. We also have drops enabled. So if you do play PoE 2, you should probably make sure that your Twitch account and your PoE account are linked. And then you watch the stream for 45 minutes, starting from when the announcement starts, and you will get a free MTX for nothing, for just watching the stream. The MTX is a dodge roll effect, apparently, so this is only PoE 2, unfortunately. It's okay with me. Went home from work today since my back hurt too bad. Damn, dude. Getting old, are we? Sore back? Or did you like hurt your back somehow during like an accident or something? That sucks. But at least I'm not sick. True. Big mood. Big mood. Yeah. No, that I'm glad you're now okay-ish though. I do hope your back gets better. Nah, I'll probably just slept wrong. Fair. Fair. That does happen to us old folks who need walkers and a old folks home. I'll just turn down my music a little bit on my headphones because damn, that's loud. Yeah, so cat butt. What emote is that? That is James D6 Willow. Okay. There is no cat currently, unfortunately. I mean, there you go. No cat. Cats are downstairs. Usually in the evenings they will be downstairs. So yeah. Yeah. Welcome in, man. And yeah, we're doing some PoE too. You'll be here in 4 years too, man. Are you 4 years older than me? You're not like 37, 38, right? I'm 88. Oh damn! Then it's gonna take. You best add another 0 to that 4. I'm not that old. Oh, 1980. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fair. Yeah. I thought you were right around my age. Actually, I thought you didn't think you were older than me, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, I already am, in fairness. Like, I have those days, so it's not weird to me. I usually have it with my neck, like, stuck neck, shoulders, and it sucks. But yeah, we're doing some PoE 2 live reveal stream. Curious to see what happens. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out what they have to say. We'll switch over to the countdown here in a little bit. But yeah. If you do have a PoE 2 account and you link it to your Twitch, you get drops. For more info on like how that works and also what the drop looks like, !drop in chat, and you'll get linked to the official PoE or the GGG news post with the info on it. I do also have a new command, and the new command is going to be temporary. It won't be here forever. I will disable it as soon as there's abuse on it, which is going to be fairly quick, I imagine, but it's a text-to-speech command. You can exclamation mark say, and the little buddy that's down there, not that little buddy, or the one up there in like the little corner, or up there in the little corner, he's called Buddy, and he will talk to me and you. So yeah. He is joining us now on voice, so that is fantastic. It's not something I plan on keeping on a command. It's something that is going to be moved into a what's it called? Channel points system. Channel points and for alerts, obviously. I have it set up for that as well. I don't. Like, these calls do cost me money, so that's why I'm a little bit careful with it, but hey, that is what it is. It is fun for now, and people can feel free to use it and enjoy it. So yes, let's switch over to the actual scene here. Let me move this out of the way, and then we do one of these. And suddenly we're on Twitch. Oh my gosh. So yes, welcome. We have 16 minutes left till the stream starts. Let me also pause the music because the stream actually has music on. That's actually kind of good. I will tone that down a little bit though. Make sure it doesn't go super duper loud. But yeah. I'm excited, and I can't wait. And I hope y'all are excited as well. It will hopefully be fun. There's already 35,000 people watching, which is... I don't know how many people usually watch a PoE 1 reveal, but 35k is a good amount. So, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, new league, new expansion, new class. We know it's a druid. We know they can shapeshift into bears. And I think tigers? Don't quote me on that. And maybe wolves? I'm keen to see like what ascendancy classes they add. I'm keen to see what sort of skills they add to this as well. It'll be fun. I haven't played PoE or the Diablo games with the Druid. I don't know if we'll be starting Druid when we start playing the new league. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. That completely depends on what's revealed here and what looks cool and what, you know, the meta's gonna be and what people like come up with in terms of builds. I don't know. I don't have that much time in PoE 2. I do have plenty of time in PoE 1. I actually have, well, actually we can just check. PoE. I have 2,000 hours, 2,069 hours. Nice. And in PoE 2, I only have 62. Oh, damn. I should have had it open for like 5 hours today. That would have been nice. No, 7 hours. That would have been nice. But yeah, no, we're gonna be playing this launch, which happens on the in 2 weeks, I want to say. Let me just check my schedule. That will be on Friday the 12th of December, and we'll rewatch the Game Awards and we'll do the launch that day. So that's gonna be exciting. That's gonna be fun. So yeah, not a lot of experience with PoE 2. I don't think I've not even reached endgame yet on any character. I have not completed the campaign yet on any character. No, the furthest I've gotten was when it initially launched. It had 3 acts, and then you had to redo the acts again. And when I entered, was it Act 1 again? Or was it Act 2? I think it was Act 2 the second time around. That I was just like, I can't be bothered. And I quit the game. My build was not functioning all that well. I had quite a actually shitty build. I used a dice to pick out the class and the ascendancy that I ended up going with. And the dice were not in my favor, apparently, because I picked probably the worst class in the game that had like an actual broken ascendancy, and it was pretty much unplayable at that time. So that was not a good first experience. And last league, that was the, I don't remember what the last league was, but that was when they introduced the new Act 4, and then the sort of mini sort of acts behind Act 4. I never got to Act 4. At Act 2, I was already like, ugh, I'm not enjoying this, so no, I'm gonna switch back. Also, there were so many other games coming out. I had just no time. Too many other good games coming out this year. So yeah, what we'll do now is, because we're streaming, we'll stick with it a little bit more. I also do plan on now using a build guide. I'm not gonna just raw dog it like I have been over the years, over the past, how long has it been? It has been a year, hasn't it? Yeah, it has been a year since it came out. So yeah, it's been a year, and we'll, you know, continue playing it. I don't know why I said we'll continue playing it. That's weird, because I just as I looked down, I saw they have a race tag? Huh? What do you mean a race? This is an announcement video. But that does sound promising, because that means there's a race. So okay, that gives us a hint. So the thing is, right? PoE does races sometimes where it's like the first X people to kill the new boss or whatever get a prize, or the first people to reach a certain act or whatever. That is usually with new content, with like new bosses, new acts, stuff like that. As far as I know, based on the current like information we have, like the pre things they've already teased, we're not getting a new boss. We're getting a new class. We're getting a new league that has to do with, that probably has a boss that we know from PoE 1. But that's a league. That's not a... That's interesting. That's interesting to me. I don't know what race we would be getting. Now I was intrigued, but now they have my curiosity, you know? Let me just open up my little Stream Deck thingy, because I haven't opened that yet, apparently. I just realized. There we go. Vroom, vroom. There we go. So, yeah. Vroom indeed. I won't be participating in that race, by the way. Before anyone thinks that might be the case, not gonna happen. I can promise you now. I am not good enough for that. You will see my gameplay on PoE 2. It's not good. It's not good enough. I am not a racer. If you want to see like good gameplay of PoE 2, go check out Tai Killer or Zizaran or Havoc or like any of those kinds of people. That they're really good. I'm here to, you know, play games badly and just chill, just hang out, you know, have fun. Jesus Christ, they're almost at 50k viewers. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm kind of curious what the... Oh. What's going on special events? Oh, just a lot of people in special events. Oh, okay. That's weird. I was like, why is special events so high up? But yeah. Hope you all got your drinks ready. Maybe some snackies. I don't have any snackies. I had food and I'm very full because I had a little bit too much of food, honestly. But, you know, it was good food. I've been on this this kick lately of doing of eating like cup noodles and cup pasta, which sounds weird, but it's the same idea as cup noodles.
_CBN decided to join the club.
Oh, thank you,
for
Sentinel.
the follow.
Thank you, Sentinel. Also, that was Buddy. Fantastic, I love that. I was like, huh? What's that voice? And like, oh shit. That's my little TTS buddy. Thank you, Sentinel, for the follow. Much appreciated, man. Welcome in. So yeah, I've been on this this kick of like instant noodles and instant pasta, and I've been eating a fair amount of it. Probably not super healthy, but you know, it's better than shoving a pizza in the oven 5 days a week. So I still count it. And you know, we still work out, so that's all good as well. But yeah, what was I gonna say? I don't remember what I was gonna say. Anyway, 50k viewers. Almost 55 now. Wow. That is quite a few. We'll go into full screen now. I don't know, by the way, where to put my camera for this. I might be in the way here and there, but I hope not, so we'll see. Yeah, I'll make sure to open studio mode at least so that I can move around the camera if I need to. There we go. Yeah, 5 minutes left. I'm excited. I don't know what to expect besides the Druid, besides the boss from PoE 1, besides apparently a race. But it's hopefully gonna be good. Maybe some... we will get new weapons as well, because they have this thing with PoE 2 where certain weapons belong to certain classes and they really want to like make sure those come out at the same time. So I'm guessing we'll get spares. What else? I thought the Druid had another weapon. No, so wait, spears are Huntress, not... Yeah, spears are the Huntress. So what is the Druid then? Oh, I don't know. I don't know if we know. We probably do. I don't, but we do. Oh, shit. But we probably do. So, I don't know. You got a quick peek at my wallpaper there. As Windows decided to do the preview thing. But, yeah. How you doing, by the way, Sentinel, if you're chatting? If you're not chatting, that's fine as well. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Are you guys excited? Looking forward to anything? Do you play PoE? Do you not play PoE? Do you not care? Are you here just for the vibes? At least the connection seems to have stabilized a little bit. It was a little bit droppy earlier. I'm chilling. Discord told me you were streaming, so I figured I'd pop in. Awesome, man. Thank you so much for hopping in. And good to hear that you're chilling, man. Yeah, we'll do watch long party and then a little wrap up at the end. And then yeah, just a quick little chill stream. Nothing too fancy. But we're nearly there yet. If you don't have any like drinkies or snackies, now's the time to go get them, because we'll be engrossed in a hopefully good announcement video trailer in 3 minutes. And yeah, we'll go from there. I had hoped that my topics would last a little bit longer than the half an hour that I planned, but you know, here we are. Yeah. So now we wait. Luckily, that's not awkward at all, you know? It's not like I'm here, you know, supposed to be talking for entertainment value, but yeah. Let's see, I think yeah, drops, and yeah, we'll see what happens during the stream. I heard a little about this announcement, but I haven't touched PoE 2 in a bit. Have you played? You played at like the initial launch then, when it like initially came out into early access? I did just remember that. Who said this? I think initial launch and last big update. Oh, nice. I mean, then we've played both at the same time. I don't. That's the last time I played as well. I don't think I have played since. No. So yeah. Who said this? I don't remember which PoE content creator said this, but someone is mentioned that they thought that PoE 2, that this stream, we're gonna get the final like a live release date for like the final game, and they reckon it's gonna be December of next year. Yeah, December of next year, I think they said. So maybe we'll get a release date for the full version. I think initially when they released, they were planning on having the full game out this summer. Obviously that didn't happen, and then earlier in this year they were like, that's probably not gonna happen, so we're gonna go for I think they wanted to go for December this year, but clearly that's not gonna happen, otherwise this would have been a much bigger announcement. And then so the chances of it coming out next year is pretty good. I feel like they mentioned a year plus at some point earlier this year. Could be mistaken. Yeah, I don't remember. I think, or maybe it was the community who said they wanted it out this December, or maybe it was just me. I don't know. But anyway, here we go. So let's see what they say. Let's see what they come up with.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers, Game
Hi,
Director
Jonathan
on
Rogers.
Path of Exile 2, and welcome to GGG Live. Today we're going to show you an exclusive reveal for what's coming next for Path of Exile 2. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so you'll be able to claim your Verdant Wilds dodge roll effect by following the instructions below. Now today, it's finally time to show off a new class that we know everyone in the community's been waiting for. So let's roll the trailer for Path of Exile 2, The Last of the Druids.
Let's go. Give us what we want. Oh. Hello, Twitch. This is not me, Twitch.
Well. What have we got here then?
You lost, fella?
Hey, we're talking to you.
I asked you a question.
King of the Mists? Ooh. Oh.
What's wrong with him?
He's lost his bloody mind.
Ooh. So he got transformed by the King of the Mists. That is awesome. Big bear. Oh. So he uses a staff? Okay. Do we have staff? I don't think we had staves yet, so yeah, that makes sense. Big wolf. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Dragon? Oh, I want to play the dragon. That's dope. Oh, that's badass. I want to play as a dragon. Hell yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Oh, that's giving me goosebumps. Oh, this Diablo looks strange. This Diablo looks better is what you mean.
I will find you, Eve.
Nice. December 12th, we'll be there.
As you can see, the Druid is a shape-shifting elemental spellcaster. After his fellow Druids were destroyed by the King in the Mists, the Druid lost his humanity in the forests of Ogham, where he wandered for years as a beast. Now, finally reawakened, he's determined to find his lost wife and regain his humanity. The Druid has been one of the hardest classes for us to design.
That's good.
As well as having human spells, he has 3 animal forms, and we wanted to make sure that there were interesting combos between all of them. The Druid is our first hybrid strength and intelligence class. That means he needs to have the ability to use spells and attacks. As a human, the Druid typically uses magical staves to harness the powers of the earth and the natural world.
Okay.
One of the first skills you will learn is the ability to create small volcanoes from the earth. This skill spits out balls of magma at your enemies, and will continue to do so for some time.
Balls?
While the volcano is active, turn into an animal and wade into melee range. Many of the skills you use as a human last for a significant period of time, giving you a good chance to turn into an animal and rage out. But how do you turn into an animal, you may ask? The answer is a new weapon type that Druids use, animal talismans. When you equip an animal talisman, you can choose which animal form you would like the talisman to represent. Depending on what you choose, you'll be given that animal's basic attack as a new skill to equip. For a bear, that's Maul.
Ooh.
To turn into a bear,
Okay.
simply use the skill.
Interesting.
Your character will instantly transform into a bear and attack. If you want to change back to a human, just cast a spell. You will instantly swap back and cast it.
Oh, that's
We wanted to
nice.
make sure that swapping between forms was seamless and immediate. Changing forms
Yeah.
should be something that you do without even thinking about it all the time in battle. In order to allow for hybrid melee and caster gameplay, most of the skills you use in your human form last for some time and aid your animal skills in some way. The volcano we used earlier will emit more molten balls whenever you hit it with a slam, making it perfect for use with your bear form's furious slam. While in bear form, many of your abilities use rage. There are a lot of ways to generate rage, but the easiest one is simply smash your enemies with maul.
I mean, that is the easiest way.
Once you see the runes on
Yeah.
your back glowing, it means you have enough rage to do a much more devastating version of your furious slam. Your bear form can also go on a rampage, stomping the ground as you demolish your foes. The more rage you have, the longer the rampage lasts, and doing it over a volcano makes it even better.
Lots of balls.
As you
Well,
consume rage, your bear form will
relatively.
generate endurance charges, and these can be used with skills like Ferocious Roar. Ferocious Roar is a war cry that empowers your subsequent attacks to break your opponent's armor. The more endurance charges you have when you use it, the more empowered attacks you will gain. But Ferocious Roar has another special feature too. It's a meta gem that allows you to socket any Warcry gem from another class into it, giving you
So
the ability to
weapon
use these
one
skills as a bear.
Charm, weapon 2, dragon charm.
Use
Yeah.
the Warrior's Infernal Cry skill to make your enemies explode.
Oh, that's gonna be satisfying as hell. Just stomp
Or
the
use
ground
Seismic
and
Cry to
just
stun your enemies and double up the number of slams you do. You can even use it with Ancestral Call, a skill that turns you into the fire god Cow. Ever wondered what the Karui god of war would look like if he was a bear? Well, wait no longer.
I mean, that looks
Finally,
cool.
build up enough rage and you can use one of the bear's ultimate abilities, Walking Calamity. This skill summons a storm of fire around you for some time, while generating even more rage to power your other abilities. A true bear-pocalypse. Now the bear is known for being a slower and more lumbering animal, with slower attacks and heavy slams. But what if you want to turn into something a little more nimble? Well, let's check out the second animal form for the druid, wolf form. For the wolf form, we wanted to go fast and furious. Even just the wolf's basic attack will leap forward and rake his foes. After attacking, the wolf stands up on two legs, but after running for a short time, he goes back on all fours, allowing to move more quickly between packs of enemies.
I do love
The wolf
fast
has a lot
attack.
of cold attacks based on his association with the moon, and the first of these is Lunar Assault. It's great for freezing your enemies in place. After they're frozen, use your basic rake attack to knock shards of ice off your enemies, which land on the ground nearby and explode. If you want to get into battle quickly, you can use your pounce attack. This skill leaps at a target and applies a mark to them.
Oh, I don't
Killing
know.
the marked enemy will summon a
Gameplay looks
wolfman into
sick.
your side, allowing them to fight with you. Mark and kill as many enemies as you can to build up a sizable pack. While an enemy is marked, your wolves will prioritize that target and do more damage the more wolves you have. So make
it might
sure you
have to
keep
be a
your
wolf.
pack strong.
Wolf and a dragon.
Now, one problem you might run into is your wolf pack dying in boss fights. You often don't have any enemies that you can mark and kill in order to regenerate your pack. To deal with this problem, you can use Cross Slash. Cross Slash jumps backwards and does a vicious double slash. Any marks on your target explode and triggers their abilities. This allows you to pounce to mark an enemy and then summon a wolf even without killing it. Cross Slash also has another feature though. Remember those ice fragments from before? Well, Cross Slash will propel any ice shards on the ground towards its central target. First, freeze your enemies with Lunar Assault. Then rake them to create as many ice fragments as you can. Then follow up with Cross Slash to generate a field of icy explosions to obliterate your enemies.
The effect of the skills in PoE 2 is just... Oh.
If they're still alive after that, your pack of wolves can finish them off. Just like with the
looks
bear's
great.
raw skill earlier that allows you to use skills from other classes, Pounce is also a meta gem that you can socket mark skills from other classes into. So for example, you might want to try adding Freezing Mark from the Monk to Pounce. After pouncing at an enemy, cross slash to explode the mark and gain extra cold damage for a time.
Nice.
The wolf has many other ways to go all in on cold though. Using the Arctic Howl Warcry will allow you to add cold damage and chilled ground to any slam, while buffing your pack of wolves as well. You can also use it to freeze enemies that are close to being frozen, making it much faster to use your other combos. Finally, the wolf also has the ability to call down the power of the moon to transform into an Arctic werewolf with Lunar Blessing. In this form, you move and attack more quickly and deal extra cold damage. Consuming Rage will extend the duration of your Arctic wolf form, so you could try a hybrid bear and wolf build if you want to utilize the skill to its full effect.
I think the little thing that allows you to switch into the form that they showed was two-handed.
Let's talk about the third form available to the Druid, and I think it's a cool one. The Wyvern. The Wyvern has a number of long-range breath abilities, but that doesn't mean you can't get into melee range when you want to. The basic attack of the Wyvern is Rend. Jump forward into combat and slash your enemies with your lethal talons. If they're close to being stunned, you can blow them off balance with a blast from your wings, causing an explosion of damage. After the battle though, it's time to feed. Devour the corpses of monsters to create power charges, and this is when the Wyvern's abilities really come online. When using Rend, you can consume a power charge to charge up your wings with lightning. Not only does this do a bunch of damage, but it allows you to turn this melee skill into a much larger AoE attack.
That's like an electric scythe.
Once your wings are charged, your Wing Blast will also do lightning explosions for even more damage. If your enemies are close to death, no need to wait for them to actually die. When you see this blue marker, just devour them alive. Fresh meat is much tastier after all. Alright, so those are some melee options, but how about range?
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't be much of a dragon if you couldn't breathe fire after all. Rolling Magma is the first of the Wyvern's breath attacks. Spit balls of fire that bounce along the ground.
Did we have Rolling
These
Magma
balls
before?
will trigger volcanoes as well, so it's a good idea to cast one as a human right before you start spitting.
Rolling Magma is a fun skill in PoE 1. I don't know if we had it in PoE 2 already.
But that's not all you can spit. You have something a little nastier in that gullet of yours.
Behind you. Oh, okay.
Spitting a barrage of oil at your enemies will cover them in a viscous sludge that makes them easier to ignite.
Ooh.
If you have power charges though,
yeah.
plant your wings in the ground and vomit a barrage of lightning-infused projectiles. The more power charges you have, the longer you can do this for. But make sure you keep your foes at range. You're vulnerable to melee attacks while channeling this skill. In order to help with that, let's take a quick diversion back to some of your human abilities. As a Druid of Scoth, you have the ability to harness the power of nature to create entangling vines to slow down your enemies. Another of nature's punishments is the thunderstorm. Creating one of these will create periodic strikes of lightning from the sky, and will also make your enemies wet. Why is that useful? Well, of course, things that are wet are easier to shock. Use it with lightning damage from your Wyvern form to enhance your damage. Making things wet also makes them easier to freeze, so it works nicely with your wolf form as well. And you know what else likes water? Plants. Water your plants to give them various extra abilities. Use Lightning Storm with Entangle to make them last longer,
Okay,
and
those
attach more
interactions are
vines
kind
to
of
each
cool.
enemy, slowing
Not
them
gonna lie.
further. Summon Thrashing Vines to slam at your enemies for a time. Any that are created in water will be larger and deal more damage. Now
Also,
then,
you can
with our
literally
enemies
make it
sufficiently
rain.
subdued with our plants, time to really lay into them with our lightning-infused barrage. Now, this last Wyvern ability is just ridiculous, but we felt like we had to do it. Use Flame Breath to take to the skies and rain down a stream of fire on your enemies. You have wings, so we have to take full advantage of them after all. So fly around and
Hells yeah. Oh, look at all the wheat burning as well. Oh my god. Oh, just for the cinema, you need to play this.
Now, there are a few other skills we didn't cover, but there's one in particular that I think will open up a lot of builds. Spell Totems. Spell Totems are meta gems that let you create a totem that will automatically cast any spell in the game for a time.
Nice.
In order to create one, you will need to spend 3 endurance or 3 power charges. You could use them to throw fireballs, summon comets, or shower the area in lightning. Really, the options are kind of endless. Your bear form can easily generate endurance charges by consuming rage, and your wyvern form can easily create power charges by eating corpses. So it's pretty easy for the druid to get the charges needed, but they're also available from quite a few other places as well. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of different spellcaster classes thinking about how best to take advantage of these.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
Now, of course, along with a new class comes a bunch of new support gems. We've added over 30 new supports throughout the game, but I'll show you a few of the cooler ones here. Fan the Flames can be added to any wind skill to spread fire from one ignited enemy to the other enemies behind them.
Wind?
It's great for the Wyvern's
Or
Wind
wing?
Blast. But you can also use it on many other
Wind.
classes with wind skills, like the Twisters on the Huntress, or the Monk's Staggering Palm Projectiles.
Okay, fair enough.
Accelerated growth causes extra explosive plants to erupt from the ground whenever you grow plants with rain.
That's
And
cool.
Advancing Storm changes storm skills like your Thunderstorm or Tornado to move across the battlefield. It's great for watering plants en masse, or to turn tornadoes into a real disaster by sucking up multiple ground effects as they travel along. And the Sorceress might like to use it with Firestorm as well. Echoing Cry causes your Warcry skills to echo. They will repeat a couple more times with a delay after you use them, giving you more empowered attacks. Use it for the Druid's animal form Warcries, or on the Warrior for a nice power boost.
Now we're playing Druid. I wasn't
Grounding
sure I was going
shocks
to play
causes
Druid,
monsters you shock to turn
I
into
have
living
to.
Tesla coils, arcing lightning to nearby enemies. You could use it with your empowered wings for an extra damage boost, but it's also great with any other shocking skill. Try it out with Lightning Spear. It obviously needed more AoE clear. There's a whole pile more, but we'll leave those for you to discover.
Okay.
Now with a new class comes new Ascendancy classes. The Druid will have two options for now, with a third
we
being
got?
released later. The first class is the Shaman. The Shaman channels nature's elemental fury and can harness rage as a spellcaster, unifying his animalistic and magical tendencies.
Oh,
By
okay.
allocating Druidic Champion, you gain spell damage the angrier you are. And with Furious Wellspring, you generate rage continuously and can spend it to empower your spells.
No inherent
With the
loss.
knowledge of the
Damn.
Asmerian Magi, the Shaman can harness untapped power from runes and idols. After allocating Wisdom of the Magi, you will notice that all runes and idols have extra mods only available to the Shaman. These new mods unlock countless new possibilities for enhancing your build.
Okay.
You can also allocate Bringer of the Apocalypse, allowing you to become a walking natural disaster. After dealing enough elemental damage, storms of all elements rain around you, destroying all who would face nature's fury. There are other abilities for the Shaman, but I'll
looks
just
fun.
show a few from each class for now. The other Druid Ascendancy is the Oracle. The Oracle perfected the power of Foresight and utilizes this in combat to gain massive advantage. When taking Fateful Vision, you will see visions of your future self using specific skills. If you decide to follow this path by using the skill yourself, it will do significantly more damage.
Wait. Okay.
And with Converging Paths,
My-
at a
my
critical
brain
moment
can't
in
follow
battle
that.
when a monster is vulnerable to freeze, stun, or electrocution, the Oracle can use Moment of Vulnerability to see a vision of the enemy's future, and then merge it with the current timeline, allowing him to deal damage to both. And one of my favorites, when you first become an Oracle, you'll notice over 130 new extra passives appear in the Druid section of the tree. By allocating the Unseen Path, you use your power of foresight to learn from alternate futures and gain skills that would otherwise be unavailable to you. For example, self-sacrificing allows you to be able to summon more minions by reducing the spirit costs, with the trade-off of making your reservation skills cost more spirit. Or Corruption Endures, which allows oracles to have a small chance to avoid death.
Holy
Both the Druid
shit.
Ascendancies offer interesting and unique ways to gain modifiers that no other classes can get. So
Someone's going to find a way to break that.
Build possibilities from
100%.
these.
That's going to be broken.
Now there are unique talismans for the Druid to use as well. We won't spoil all of them, but this one was particularly cool. Fury of the King turns your bear form into a fire demon, converting most of your damage to fire. As a demon, you can also use Molten Crash, a jumping
yeah.
slam attack that leaves fissures around you. This
Uniques
unique
that change
also
your form,
continuously
that's
grants
awesome.
glory, allowing you to use your ultimate abilities more easily. Now, of course, the Druid isn't the only thing we're adding to Zero
Druid seems actually
we still have
ludicrous.
a bunch more to show.
It looks
With
pretty
every
good.
new release, we create a new league with new mechanics, new pinnacle bosses, and with a new story to tell. And this time is no exception. So let's roll the trailer for the Fate of the Vaal.
Fate of the Fall. There we go.
Palace of Queen Atziri. It is a ruin, but in the
Let me just get out of the way for this.
machines still churn. has many functions. And with it, a chance to save the
Oh, I
Vaal.
love that upgrade.
A gateway through time. Travel into the past again and again. Alter the temple. Uncover its secrets. You will
That's
be
a
rewarded for your
big-
sacrifice.
What are we doing?
And somewhere in the deepest chamber,
I'm sorry?
my queen awaits.
Adziri.
I beg of you, hear me. The beast cannot give you what you desire.
You may have studied it, Doriani, but you do not know it like I do. It adores me.
Hello? We
Come
like
now.
those.
Give unto me your desire. At last, fulfill my soul.
Okay. That looks incredible. That like league mechanic with the tiles. Oh,
Hi,
that's
I'm Mark Roberts,
such an
Game
upgrade from
Director
PoE
on
1.
Path of Exile. In the Fate of the
Hi,
Vaal
Mark.
League, you will find remnants of the ancient Vaal civilization scattered throughout Rayclast. They seem to attract nearby creatures and affect them strangely. After killing them, the remnant appears to gain some amount of power, but not enough to fully activate it. It seems you will need to find 5 more of these arcane devices, and sacrifice the monsters you find there to fully activate one. But things don't always go to plan. These devices are old, and sometimes infected by corruption. Twisted versions of ancient Vaal may emerge, and sometimes even stronger foes. On fully activating one of the devices, you finally discover its true purpose. A portal opens and takes you deep underground to a lost temple, once the home of Adziri, Queen of the Vaal. What treasures could still be inside? I think you're gonna want to find out. In front of the entrance is a console of some kind, and on activating it, you can see a map of the temple. Adziri's personal chambers are on the far side, but how could anyone get there? There are disconnected rooms, and the layout doesn't seem to make sense. And that's when you realize the purpose of the ancient devices scattered through Rayclast. The temple is powered by sacrifice, and this energy can be used to modify the very structure of the temple itself. Each time you run the temple, you will be given 6 rooms that you can place, allowing you to craft your own dungeon to explore. Place paths to link up the dungeon, and place rooms beside them full of precious loot.
That's
After
so
you are
much fun.
happy with your choices, open the temple and discover the results of your efforts. Each room contains different challenges along with its rewards. On entering a room, the doors will slam shut behind you and you will need to face the encounter within.
Oh,
But
Okay.
choose wisely. It's important where you place the rooms to get maximum returns.
okay.
For example,
Interesting.
when placing a commander, you could just place it anywhere along an existing path, but a much better strategy is to place it next to a garrison of troops for him to command.
Okay, why
With
is that?
better leadership, the garrison will level up, making the monsters harder, but also more rewarding. Different rooms have different
Interesting.
requirements for leveling up. For example, if you want to fully level up a smithy, you will need to supply it with golems from an adjacent golem works, and hook up a generator to the power network to supply it with power. After doing so, the golems will be powered up, making them much more dangerous.
It looks like it, by the
You
HP.
don't need to memorize what interacts with what. When selecting a room, you will be shown the locations that will make other rooms level up, and exactly what effect it will have on the temple.
Okay. That's neat. I'm glad they did that.
After running the temple, a few of the rooms will destabilize and be removed. It will be up to you to rebuild the temple, adding 6 more rooms each time you come back, making the temple larger and larger and larger.
Until...
So, that's the basic functionality of the temple. But there is a lot more. Once Doriani finds out about your travels to Leraval, he will attempt to persuade you to take on a new mission. The temple entrance contains a prototype of the time portal device. It will be able to take you back in time, but only to one specific point, right before Itzeri triggered the cataclysm that destroyed the Vaal. He requests that you go back and attempt to stop Itzeri to prevent the Vaal from ever being destroyed.
Okay. So that's when you fight Itzeri, and then once you fight Itzeri, the temple gets wiped?
Itzeri is on the far side of the temple, so you will need to expand the temple significantly to get to her. And even worse, her chambers can only be unlocked by a room that isn't currently accessible to you. In order to deal with that, you are going to need to visit the architect of the temple. To get to him, you will need to place path rooms. But while doing so, you will probably want to exploit some of the Vaal technology only available in the past. Once you can travel into the past, a whole new set of rooms are available to you, and they have some pretty insane rewards. At level 1, the corruption chamber can be used to corrupt a single item.
This is fun.
But placing it next to a thaumaturge to run the place, and a sacrificial chamber to provide soul energy, you'll be able to level it up. And it's worth it. Because once you get the room to level 3, there are some very nice rewards to be had.
Yes.
In a level 3 corruption chamber, you will find this mysterious device. It has a slot to place an item, and it only accepts items that are already corrupted. What will happen to them? Well, normally once an item is corrupted, you can't modify it any further. But this device allows you to corrupt your item a second time, adding another enchantment.
Okay, that's
This has the capability to craft some very powerful items indeed. But be warned, the Vaal are all about taking risks in the pursuit of power.
Yeah.
There is a 50% chance that the item will be destroyed.
Fair enough.
Each room has its own interesting mechanics and rewards when it levels up. Many of them contain bosses to fight, special drops, and in many cases, new crafting opportunities. For example, a level 3 alchemy lab has a nasty Vaal construct to fight, but if you can defeat it, you can find new corrupted soul cores.
Nice.
Like Guatalitzi's Thesis, which on boots allows you to sacrifice your life to run faster. Or Sita Qualottl's Thesis, which on gloves will revive one of your minions whenever an offering expires. Get a sacrificial chamber to level 3, and you will need to face a highborn priest of sacrifice. Defeat him to be able to further corrupt a Vaal unique, modifying it in unpredictable ways. One of the mods of this unique will be removed and replaced with another random mod.
Ooh, that looks nasty.
For example, this Soul Mantle. It gives you an additional totem, but lowers your totem's life and curses you when they die. By using the machine, this could result in a terrible item if you remove the good mod, but also some amazing items if you replace the downside.
Increased attack and cast speed if you summon a totem.
Now, one extra thing to mention about these Vaal crafting machines. You don't have to take the items you want to craft into the temple. If you don't have the item you want to craft with you at the time, then clicking this button will allow you to create a currency item instead, allowing you to do the craft later or trade it if you want. Now, there are all sorts of interesting rooms you can find in the temple.
That's awesome.
But the last one I want to show you today is the Flesh Surgeon. A Vaal Flesh Surgeon can be leveled up by placing him next to a high-level synth flesh lab. But be careful. The Flesh Surgeon has some rather unpleasant experiments in his personal lab. Afterwards, you might notice the surgery table just sitting there. The Vaal are great at crafting items. Why not do some crafting on yourself? After laying down, you'll be asked which limb you'd like to replace. Left arm, perhaps your right leg. Each limb can get a different set of random bonuses, so choose wisely. After getting up from the table, try out your new limb.
What
It
the
seems
fuck?
to work fine, and even perform better than your normal one. Now,
That's
there's just one thing with
awesome.
replacing body parts. If you die and are resurrected, your body will return to its natural state.
Aw, damn it.
You might need to return to the Val Surgeons if you want another robot arm, and maybe get a better one next time.
Ah, damn it, man.
Some
That would've
rooms,
been
like
awesome.
the Commander, can give you a new type of reward. Medallions that can be used to manipulate the temple in other ways.
That's sick, though. being
Using
able to-
Aquipolatal's medallion will allow you to
Cyberpunk.
artificially boost a room, even if it doesn't meet the normal requirements to level up. And a Huatalotli's medallion will stop rooms from destabilizing when you complete a temple, allowing you to guarantee getting a reward a second time. Great if you want to stock up on double corrupts. Now, with all that aside, time to face the Architect, and you will be in for a fight.
Sure looks like it.
Once defeated, you will find another console that can be used to modify the temple. But this one is special. It allows you to place new types of rooms with specific rewards.
Huh.
There are rooms with specific uniques, special runes, and
Wait.
currency. But also a few other, more niche crafting experiments. Like this one, that can extract the socket balls back out of an item, at the cost of destroying it.
That's nice. But
Now, something really important is
Would've been a nice
every league
base
we
game
release
edition.
a significant amount of content for the in-game. In order to make sure that the Fate of the Val works well for late-game players, we've added many mechanics to make sure that you can scale the difficulty and rewards to match. Getting some rooms to level 3 adds extra mods to the entire dungeon, and these stack with each other. So in endgame, when you can get some really big temples, you can generate a challenge that can even match the strongest of characters.
okay.
We also start to introduce ways to store up energy for the temple, allowing you to save up many runs so you can do them later at your leisure, and not interrupt your mapping too often.
That's good. That is
Now in
very
each
good.
league, it's important that we have a
Crooker's gonna
new
be full
pinnacle
robo.
boss to test your character's might. In the Fate of the Val, you will get to face Adzeri while she was at the peak of her power.
Hell yeah.
One of the rewards you will gain by defeating the Architect is the ability to place the Royal Access Chamber. Once connected to your temple, you can visit it to finally reach the Queen of the Val herself. This fight takes place at a critical moment in history, right as Adzeri communes with the beast's power and takes her true corrupted form. Now, we are not going to show you the whole fight, but we will tempt you with one of the rewards. This is Adzeri's rule. This staff gives additional levels to all of your corrupted gems and lets you trade life for extra damage. But in addition to that, while using the staff, mirrors of refraction will constantly appear on the battlefield. Any projectile you fire at these will split into a nova, and they can chain from one to the other. So, that's the Fate of the Val League. But we are also bringing the previous league, Rise of the Abyssal, into the core game,
Cool.
along with a
Nice.
few changes.
Okay.
Now, for those of you who haven't seen what happens when a league is over, it's important to understand that you will not be seeing abysses in every area anymore.
This is normal.
Rise of
This
the
what's
Abyssal is
happening.
now one of the league mechanics that can show up randomly in endgame.
Yep.
If you want to specialize in running abysses, there is now a tablet that will allow you to add them to any map you run. You can also craft the tablet to add abyss-specific mods to enhance how they function. Now that Abyss is core, it also needs its own Atlas tree.
Of course, it needs
You
a
can
tree.
gain your first points by completing an Abyss. But there are more available for doing depths and killing certain bosses. And there are a bunch of different options.
Okay.
You might just want more monsters and bosses. But You can also make finishing an Abyss have a chance to overrun a nearby map with the Abyssal. Or make your Waystone modifiers also apply to Abyssal depths.
Oh, okay.
You could specialize in the interaction with other leagues, or specialize in a specific Abyssal faction. One of the important elements that we have heard loud and clear is that needing to do Abyss crafting on Waystones is quite annoying. So, we have removed that. In fact, we have removed instilling from Waystones as well. This mechanic felt mandatory on maps because it boosted the value of all other content, but it was both annoying to do and resulted in a lot of visual clutter.
Okay.
Instead, we are bringing back some of that power on tablets, which you don't need to craft nearly as often, since they last for 10 maps each. Once you defeat the Arbiter of Ash, you will be able to upgrade tablets to a rare with 4 mods using regular currency. Even this isn't enough to fully bring back the power you could have gotten from instilling, so we have also buffed the bonuses that tablets give. Going forward, we're not going to be adding any more crafting directly to Waystones outside of the basic currency, because it adds too much micromanagement. But on that note, Fate of the Veil does bring the ability to corrupt your tablets, hoping to get one of many different random outcomes.
That's fair. I mean...
Now, with regard to Delirium
we
Fog,
have that in PoE 1, so
even though you shouldn't have to have it on every map anymore, we still did want to make it less visually annoying. Delirium Fog has been toned down significantly, so you won't feel like you're just playing in a sea of grey.
Fantastic.
Another big source of problems in the endgame is the feeling of getting overwhelmed with monsters. In 031, we reduced the number of monsters in early endgame in order to help with this, but still scaled up the number of monsters to previous levels by the time you got to tier 15. Well, after letting this simmer for a while, we are still getting this kind of feedback. So we are no longer going to scale up the number of monsters you go as you get deeper into the endgame. Instead, we are scaling up the difficulty and rewards by the same amount.
I don't know if I like that.
Instead of increasing the number of monsters by 40%, they will instead drop 40% more items, grant 40% more experience, and have 40% more life, in addition to all the normal scaling they get due to being higher level.
Okay,
This
just more
only
life is
applies
okay.
to
Like, if
regular
it also does
monsters,
damage?
not bosses. We have also reduced the speed modifiers that monsters can get sometimes, which also helps a lot with this. Now, we did have a large amount of content for endgame planned for 040,
Yeah.
but unfortunately we just didn't get time to finish it. The scope was a bit too large, and so we'll need to wait until 050 for that.
Fair.
But rest assured, there will be a ton of upgrades for the existing leagues, as well as new pinnacle bosses, and a significant overhaul to the Atlas passive tree coming soon. Now, another problem that becomes a much bigger issue in the endgame is game performance. And we have done a lot of work here. The primary issue is CPU load. And to address that, a lot of things have been optimized. And we have done a lot of work to take advantage of more of your CPU cores.
Nice.
You should see frame rates of at least 25% higher. And a
At
lot less bad
least?
frame spikes during gameplay.
That's
It does
a
make
big
quite
claim.
a big difference, especially on consoles. A lot more
Yeah,
work in this
fair.
area is ongoing, and you will continue to see performance
GG is such a
improvements over the next few months.
top-notch dev, man. I know. That,
Of
like,
course, another important area is game
Goated.
balance, and we have made a lot of changes. Now, most of these we will save for the patch notes, but I'll do a quick summary of some of the numbers. As well as adding 11 new unique items, we have rebalanced dozens of others that are not currently used very often.
Okay.
We've also done a pass over lineage supports. 21 of them have been rebalanced, as well as adding 9 more.
Not bad.
Alongside the 2 new Druid ascendancies, we have made balance changes to almost all the others, with some of them getting a grander rebalance, such as the Smith of Katava. Alongside the 20 plus new Druid skills, we've also rebalanced 90 other active skills across all the different classes. And to top it all off, there are also over 250 new passive skills added to the passive tree. These changes should go a long way to increase
Good
the
lord,
viability of many more skills, uniques, and overall build variety that can tackle
That's
our most
crazy.
challenging content. Next up, we're going to be talking about our new supporter packs.
Bear in mind, right? They
Today,
had
we're launching 2 new series of supporter
was it?
packs. The Precursor and Calguran packs.
1,200 notes
Each
when
tier
they first
contains the
launched.
pack's full face value in points,
And they've-
alongside several exclusive microtransactions.
They've added like a
As always,
bunch already.
the
Like
microtransactions in these
they're,
packs are
I'm
purely
sure there's
cosmetic
more nodes on
and
the
do
tree
not
now
affect
than
your
in
character's
PoE 1.
power or progression in any way. The Precursor series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. First up, the Marble Statue Character Effect. Once you finally stay still for a moment, a podium rises up out of the ground to immortalize you, turning your skin to marble. When you next move, the stone crumbles around you. The Precursors had mastery over gravity manipulation. So too can you, now with the Gravity Well portal. Witness the power of its pull as you approach it. Draw in enemies with your own gravitational pull with the Awakened Precursor armor set. The Precursors designed and built many mysterious ancient beings. This one used to serve as a scout that would patrol and tase intruders.
I like that one.
Why
That's
salvage
cool.
gear yourself when the Master of the Forge can do it for you? Molten gold spills out as the Forge Master breaks down your items.
That's kind of neat.
The Relic of the Precursor's map device is a mysterious machine that sits atop ancient colossal statues. It keeps track of the number of charges consumed on your Precursor tablets used in the device. The Calguran pack series also contains 6 exclusive
That map device is
microtransactions.
awesome.
The Calgurans had astounding skill in astronomy, being able to track cosmic events with absolute precision. Harnessing that skill, with the Astronomer's level up effect equipped, you too can now see exactly how long it took you to level up as it outputs the time in chat.
Oh,
The time
that's kind
taken
of cool.
to reach your last 3 levels is also displayed on the item, so you can link it when you have a time you're proud of. Crush unique enemies by unleashing the wrath of the lost Calguran fleet, led formerly by Captain Heartland himself. A Calguran seafarer needs armor fit for the treacherous seas
Okay,
of
that's-
Rayclast. This set has you covered.
Top down,
with
it
the
didn't look
classic
that good. That
tricorn,
looks-
and of course, a pig leg.
That kind of looks cool.
The Lost Treasure weapon skins top off your appearance of a true raider of the seas.
What the fuck is that?
These gilded weapons can be applied to wands, two-hand maces, and shields.
Ooh,
After a long day
boobies.
of plundering loot, retreat to the Kraken's Cove hideout, a home of some of the most deadly ocean-dwelling creatures in Rayclast.
Oh, okay, that's kind of a cool
Many
hideout,
ships
isn't
have
it?
met their demise here.
Yeah, this is kind of a cool support pack.
What better to accompany you in Kraken's Cove than a Kraken itself? Replace your stash with a dormant Kraken, waiting for its prey. As you
I don't
approach,
know.
it will awaken and terrify both you and any guests in your hideout.
I don't know about that one.
Alongside this, an extra stash skin item will be granted to you, and when placed, will automatically open to any stash tab set with the currency affinity, to help having to navigate through your tabs. Additionally, any microtransactions from these supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 1.
That I do love always.
Thank you very much
How does
for
that
all your
peg
ongoing
leg
support.
Work with
We're just
the
about to
Valve
start the
thing.
Q&A with Ziggy D. Afterwards, at 11 AM NZ time, we'll post the patch notes. With release at the end of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information you'll need for the release. Keep an eye on the news.
Okay.
Thanks
will
for
do.
joining us today and checking out our latest developments.
You're welcome, Mark. Thank you.
We're looking forward to playing alongside our fellow shapeshifting exiles, all while uncovering Lost Val secrets by doing some dungeon crafting.
Yes, sir.
We'll begin the Q&A shortly, so please get your questions ready.
Okay. Well, no release date for the final game, but, you know, we did get a fantastic... It looks pretty darn good, not gonna lie. The league looks really neat. I also really like that Druid.
Welcome back, Exiles, to the
G'day,
Q&A
Ziggy.
portion. I am your host, Ziggy D, and today we're going to be touching on the design of the Druid and the Fate of the Vile League while we gather some community questions. Then we'll deep dive into endgame, balance, and other game design topics. I am,
looks
of
like I'm
course,
playing
joined
P2 on the
by
14th.
game directors
Same, bro.
Jonathan Rogers and Mark Roberts. How you guys going?
We'll be live with
Very good.
P2 when it goes live.
It's been a great one to work on this one. Like, I've really enjoyed it. So, yeah, it's definitely great to see you again. And it feels like it's only been, like, no time at all since the last time you were here with Tier 1 release.
It feels like only several weeks, and that's pretty accurate.
yeah.
We get to see you twice as often now, so that's fun.
Yeah, I'm around every 2 months or so now. Actually, it's great. I love it. Let's keep going. So I do have to open with this though. Is like Druid looked a little bit weak, I think, in the demonstration video today.
Yeah, I think one of the issues that we have is like we're so concentrating on like just demonstrating how the mechanics work that we sort of forget to be like, okay, let's actually make sure the damage numbers that we're doing on this like test character we're filming here are actually like in line with what people actually normally expect. So yeah, there's just a few things there that we probably should have caught and made a little stronger there. But yeah, when you actually play it, it's certainly from the alpha feedback incredibly powerful. Like
Yes.
you know we were seeing some people say, oh, you know, the wolf looks weak or whatever. Well, I can assure you that on alpha there's a bunch of people saying the wolf is super OP. So you know, it just comes down to
Hey,
the
I'm down for that.
you go
Like,
through in order to demonstrate.
give us
stuff.
OP, that's good.
Probably going to be worthwhile. We make some videos showing a bit more of the
Yeah.
less demonstratey side and get them posted and stuff this week. Because honestly, you can just play it literally right now, and it's you know.
Yeah, I've definitely been playing and recording a bit myself because I was like, when I first watched it as well, the draft, I was thinking, it's like, I don't really get a feel for what it feels like to actually play it. There's good demonstration here of the mechanics, but yeah, I can understand how from your perspective, it'd be pretty easy to be like, oh, I want to communicate how this cool thing works and this cool thing works.
There's a fine line there for sure. Where if you get too hectic, people are like, I don't even know what's going on. They're just looking at a ruckus.
Yeah.
And then, in this case, let's say we went on a little too far on the other side of the line, where it's just a bit too slow. And as a result, yes, it can look a bit weak. But
yeah, I think we'll try and get some like raw.
This is going to be a
Druid
yappy
gameplay
interview,
out to
by the
people
way.
to
Like,
get-
they
understand. I think
usually yap on
particularly for
this.
this class because of the shape-shifting stuff. It's so hard for us to. Normally, we can look at something and be like, "Oh, that's just a demonstration." We kind of know what it would look like at endgame. But I think with the Druid, it's just so unusual. It's so different that it's actually hard to judge what it would feel like to even play it. And I'm happy from my hands on to say that like it's almost immediately like very smooth the shape shifting of it, the movement of it, especially because like in your demonstrations you're not really using dodge, roll, sprint, that sort of thing as well. Which makes a big difference.
I suppose one of the things
You
we don't
don't
really
have to
roll
sell
on the
me,
video
Ziggy.
as well is that we
I'm
do actually
already
have
there.
dodge rolls.
I'm
They're
gonna
not
be
actually
there.
rolls for the animals, but yeah, all the animals can
hops
like
and
hop
flaps
around and that kind of stuff. And that was honestly one of those things that was like kind of funny because initially we actually had it so when you dodge rolled, you would transform back into a human. And the reason we did that is because it's really hard to make animations for animals that like actually work correctly. Like we actually thought it was impossible, but then when we actually put it on alpha, there was the kind of visceral reaction of I want to still be a bear, like you know, while I'm hopping around. So we ended up having to like work out like how can we make this possible? How can we make it so that you can actually do the dodge rolling as an animal? And that sort of ended up.
I do want to roly
being
poly
pretty
as a
good, I would
bear.
say.
And this was like clearly the hardest class to design so far, and it took a bit longer. Like I think you were originally hoping to bring it out in a previous expansion.
Yeah, quite a while ago. But the thing is with it is that it's kind of like designing 4 classes in one, because not only do you have the situation where like obviously we want to have synergy between skills and stuff like that, and we can like look at that in a normal class and work out what those might be. But with this class, people want to be able to play just as a bear or just as a wolf, as well as people who want to play like dual with a human and a wolf, or people who just want to be a wolf and a bear, and like all the different combinations. So we had to kind of come up with a way for like each
they are
line
saying
needs to be
you can be a
self-sufficient and
wolf
it's
and a
got all the
bear,
tools that
so-
you need. But at the same time, you have to
I
not
don't know
have it
how
so it
that
feels like
works.
there's just duplication between them. We're like, oh, like this is just the same thing as what a bear has, but you know, you are a wolf instead. So we kind of have to like, it's like you need all the tools and yet you also need to have them feel different. And that just made it really, really tricky to get all of the things right with it. And then it didn't also
as a
help
wolf and a
that,
dragon.
since the last time we were working on the Druid, way back when we showed it off in Gamescom 2023, we had WSD, and that is a whole other complication because, you know, like how can we make that work with the
Because it's
animal
so
forms?
versatile,
It's like a whole
it
thing.
means tons of
You know, like
impactful support
I'll
for
tell you
other
the
classes as
Wyvern,
well.
for example, like we had a hell of a time making it so that you could do the ranged attacks because you need to be able to walk while you're doing it. The Wyvern's sitting there with its arms like planted on the ground, you know, like being able to walk while also spinning it. Yeah, it's like we went through so many iterations of that. So yeah, it was just a very tricky class overall, like just crazy.
I remember seeing some very goofy looking looking like wyvern like months and months ago.
Yeah.
You were like trying to, this is not working, right?
Right. Well, I
this
also
does
remember
not
like
look right.
for a long time the wolf was just like a dancing dog. It looked really silly. And like, man, the wolf as well. I mean, it was really hard to get right, and because one of the things we really wanted to avoid was I didn't want that too much of that whole like man in a wolf suit vibe.
Yes.
Like I wanted to actually get this the feeling of like this is an actually different animal, which I think with the bear and the wyvern's way easier. With the wolf, it's like it's really hard not to just go back into that. So we had a lot of questions about like what even the locomotion was. How does it walk? Are we going to walk on 2 legs? Are we going to walk on 4? We ended up splitting the difference. You can do both, right? Like you get that when you're attacking and you can be upright walking on 2 legs.
I mean,
when
it
you're
looked good.
walking,
So
you run on 4. And
the
you actually
solution
do
they
get
went
speed
for was
boost while
really
you're
good.
on 4 legs. Like as a wolf, just so after like 1 second of walking, you go down on 4 legs. You start moving a bit faster. So yeah, it's pretty
Actually,
cool.
an interesting thing there, I don't think is each form technically has a kind of passive benefit.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously you've got the running fast as a wolf. Can't remember exactly what the wyvern ones were, but like for the bear, for example, because you're just a bit bigger, you know, a bit of a tank. You actually do get armor, and armor applies to elemental damage as a thing, and like, you know, there's a kind of, which is like honestly, unless you actually click the bear keyword, is like undescribed everywhere.
Well, it was even more than that. Because I was just looking at
powerful.
it in game before. The bear has like passive endurance charge generation.
Yes, it
from
does.
Rage
So from
expenditure.
rage expenditure, it does.
I was like, that's so cool.
yeah. So we really wanted to make sure that each of the different forms had things that can benefit the other forms. So like it was really tricky to think like, what are resources that a bear can generate? What are the resources that wolf can generate? What are the ones the wyvern can generate that the other ones can then use in order to kind of get that cross synergy? So that's kind of like one of the reasons why we had to kind of come up with all that stuff. And that, part of the trickiness.
And that caught me by surprise as well, because like technically it's mentioned, but I never really fully understood the idea that you can swap between the forms, like human to animal and back. Yeah, I figured that's what's going on here. But, but you can like leap in as a wolf and then immediately transform to a bear mid slam.
You absolutely can. So the thing with this is that you want to present a fantasy to someone as far as like what the UI is pushing you towards and all that sort of stuff. Like there are going to be a lot of people who are like, I want to be a bear, and they just pick bear stuff and they go all bear, right? But at the same time, we're unconstrained in the sense that you can pick all the other stuff. You can use it at the same time. So one talisman, like effectively when you pick on a talisman from like wolf, bear, or wyvern, what that's giving you is the default attack, right? That's what you're actually picking, and that's all it is, right? And that often will guide you like what skills you're picking and so on, but you can just use with that same talisman as many different animal skills as you would like. That just means that you've got that sort of free flowing, like, you know, trying out different stuff, sort of combo gameplay that we
so you don't
like to try
really
and get.
need a talisman?
You know, obviously there will just be a lot of people who just pick one thing, right? Like I absolutely expect that. There's a lot of experimentation to do there if you want to do it.
Yeah, so you've tried to hit like making it so like people who just want like a simple straightforwards, like I just want to run out as bear and slam the ground, like that's certainly very possible there. But also you with this whole class you had the problem of how do we make like a spellcaster and a melee attacker that's shapeshifter as well. I mean, this class has got a bit of everything.
For sure.
How did you make all that kind of like work together and solve that build problem of like, how do you actually scale these things together in a way that just one
now
thing
they're
isn't way
delving
better than
into it, like
everything
the
else?
mechanics.
Well, I mean, it's always
it's
tricky, and
interesting.
Mark's obviously the one who handles a lot of the balance stuff. But I can see, even just from a design perspective, so I just throw over the fence all my horrible stuff, and then you're like, how the hell am I going to balance this? Effectively, like, so even with the spellcaster side, so one of the things we initially wanted with the spellcasting is a lot of it's like over time type effects that, so for example, with the volcano being the really obvious one, right? Like you can create this thing, and then you can turn into an animal and do other stuff at the same time. So we needed on the human side a lot of things that last for a long time. But the problem you then run into when you actually go to balance the thing is like, okay, well, if you've just got like 5 damage over time style spells, why not just cast all of them and then you don't have to ever do anything else, right? Like, so it's like that kind of stuff makes it really hard. So then you have to start thinking, okay, we want to make it so that you cast a long-term thing as a human, but then being an animal is going to augment that so that it improves it. So for example, with the tornado, it's got a similar mechanic to the little twisters that the hunters have, where ground effects can empower it with extra elemental stuff. And so then we're like, okay, well, if the animal forms are the ones that can create the ground effects, then that means that you're kind of like, you're going to want to do, like to mix that with the tornado, you now have to have both the animal forms and the spellcaster stuff if you want to get all of that together. So it's just a lot of that thinking about how can an animal form aid a spell, how can a spell aid an animal form, like all the way through. And then, yeah, as I said, we throw it over the fence, and then Mark tries to work out what kind of numbers can actually make it.
It's a web of infinite difficulty, right? Because like we're talking about the 4 forms within the class, but each of these skills also synergizes with every other class and every other skill in the game, and it's becoming growingly more complicated. But that's also what's fun about the game, and what all the things you can unlock and the crazy builds you can do. But yeah, I mean, like,
there's going to be some broken combos in here.
Okay, we had all the
guaranteed.
Like during our alpha testing and internal testing, we had like, you know, there was the I want to be all forms going between. There was the I just want to be wolf, I just want to be bear, I just want to be a dragon, and now we're getting a lot more of I just want to cast nature plant skills and do plant stuff. And so it's like, okay, well, how do we make that work? Well, because they're quite long duration, so we're having a bunch of complexity with that as well. And it honestly it does just spiral into like, oh my God, there's 20 million variables here. But it's fun. And at the end of the day, as long as it is honestly fun to play, then honestly we're golden. So, you know, I would say we're pretty much there on almost everything with this class. I'd actually say we're a little bit more prepared than
Druid,
normal.
but
We've had a lot of testing.
Dragon
despite, I mean, partly because it's been in the works for so
Druid
long.
And wolf,
but
Druid and dragon,
I don't know.
bear.
Like, ultimately pretty fun. I'd say there's still something, obviously there's still more to do. There's obviously always more to do. But yeah, there's a lot going on, a lot of enjoyment. I saw yesterday, I was just like walking past someone's computer, and you know, someone was mentioning like, yeah, it's just fun placing 6 volcanoes and then just slamming on them. I was like, all right, sweet, you do you. Like, that's fine.
I was definitely enjoying obliterating bosses in bear form, like with dropping tornadoes, and there's the totem which you can summon in animal form, and then you're putting fishes down and they're exploding, and you're putting extra things on the ground and they're exploding. And there's definitely some boss deletion going on there. So.
Even just walking past the just many entangles going out, and then there's that plant support gem. I'm like, all right, it's putting the new.
I see chat being like, no, Ziggy, don't get it nerfed. I do have to admit that I did already get one thing, let's say fixed. There was a thing that was like double generating rage. So I'm like, I don't know if this was intended. Right. And like, no, the designer said that's probably not intended. Thanks, Ziggy. I'm like,
I don't know. Sorry, we'll see where that goes, because I was like, no, that's fine. It made it to me, and I was like, no, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, because it generates rage when you first slam, and then the fishes, every time they pulse, it generates rage. I'm like,
really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit, I didn't even know that.
Because like the totem's making it pulse, and that's generating rage each time.
Right.
I'm like, that doesn't
that's interesting.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I love that, because that's like ridiculously powerful. That feels like way permissive. I was like, this feels illegal, but that's like, you gotta let a few things in there that feel illegal.
It's doing what the skill says.
I may not have, maybe I didn't get enough. Okay, cool.
I don't know. They might have changed it. I'll find out afterwards. I just throw my opinion in there. I don't want to necessarily be like, you know, I try and make sure with a lot of these balanced discussions, it's not like, you know, I'm just an authority on the matter. I want to actually discuss these things through, because maybe it isn't actually fine, but you know, my first instinct is like, yeah, like let it run wild. Like, what's the problem? You know, so
yeah, you gotta.
We'll see what happens, but whatever. They don't know what
get
the problem
some
is.
really overpowered shit.
Thanks, you've ruined it. Now people will know if it changed, and now
they'll see the thing not generating rage.
The community is gonna
see that line of text.
grill Ziggy for that one.
Of text. I'm developing a reputation now. Just helping finding bugs. It's okay. So, like the shapeshifting stuff comes from this trinket. The talisman?
Yeah, the animal talisman.
And is there any limitation to just kind of like putting that on another class and just say like, I am playing my mace marauder or my quarterstaff monk, and I want to do a wolf leap slam that marks targets.
You can do it. In fact, it was one of the things initially that, you know, it's funny with the audio team, because initially like, oh, we want to record like bear lines for the druid the whole time. And I'm like, hey guys, remember, anyone can turn into this animal. You're actually going to commit to every single class is going to have like three different extra versions of every single line the character can deliver.
Maximum effort.
It's like, yeah, that's a bit tricky. So we ended up going with a voice mod in the end. But yeah, that was one of those.
It's like they're their thoughts, I think it shifts to. It almost sounds like, to me, that's what it sounds like. They're like, they're thinking it or something like that. I don't know.
But it would have been completely impossible to record every single line an additional 3 times for every character class.
Voice actors, everybody come back and we need to roar like a bear.
Exactly. Effectively, every class can be an animal. It's exactly the same as the weapon restriction. Ultimately, being a bear is the same as having a mace, which may sound a little bit odd, but that is actually, how it works and what allows, having...
Whoa. I didn't even think about that. Wait, so you can use mace skills while in bear?
No. What I meant was that it's the same. I mean, it's the same in the sense that it's just a weapon type, right?
Like,
right.
Yeah.
Now it's right. Possible.
Well, I mean, you can turn.
Oh, wow.
That's unique territory for the future.
It often gets talked about like the idea of like why things like so weapon locked, and I've always maintained the position that you guys want to kind of do that as much as possible initially, and then in the future you can blur the lines a little bit. There's maybe in the future like, maybe this skill has a way of crossing over.
We can, but the thing is, a lot of the identity of a weapon type really comes a lot from what it can do, and so that's the kind of
all the elemental shit
that way. But but the thing is as well, the weapon swapping, you can still use skills from different elements, different weapons and things like that.
Well, the thing is, like, it's funny that you mentioned that with the bear because,
or a
like,
wolf
definitely some of the
necromancer.
bears, I noticed parallels between some of its skills and some of the mace stuff, and I could see
For, like,
absolutely combining like this bear skill that places fishes with the other stuff
minions?
on the mace that triggers the fishes. Like, there's like very obvious like cross synergy build.
Well,
there.
I mean, they're adjacent classes, right? I mean, you've got like strength versus strength int. Like, we want to be able to make sure that some of those key elements do like cross over, just so that to open up the way to have synergy between the different classes more easily.
Well, as you get more classes and more skills, you obviously get an overlap of the kind of mechanics and keywords and stuff, iterating, and thus they will always cross-synergize. And where there still will be new things a class offers, yes, there's always going to be a bunch of stuff that they use that will then interact with all the other skills. So.
Yeah, and now you added plants and plants that grow from rain, and there's a plant keyword that has overgrown as a keyword.
Like, it's interesting actually, those ones, because they're on completely opposite sides of the tree. You've got dex versus strength int, and that's been a little bit hard to kind of like get the where the mechanic should go on one side versus the other. So where we ended up going is that the nature side of things for plants on the strength int is like you've got the poison on the dex side versus the kind of like just pure nature like physical damage spells on the on the strength inside, but that's been fun though, because now it's actually been really fun designing the supports, because the more classes we have, the more we can start to think, okay, like here's a support that's for something obscure. How can we make it so this can apply to some other kind of thing on the opposite side of the tree, where like now you've got some interesting interaction. So there could be some kind of like thing where growing plants as a ranger
exactly
could be sort of something. I mean, like I can't say I've tested the potential there myself, but like we made all of that work.
That'd be
all the plants
cool.
can like plant stuff all has mechanics around like watering the ranger's plants is like a thing. They all have ways that works.
I mean, that definitely opens up interesting party options in the future as well. Like,
it's a thing.
I do like the idea of being like a druid watering.
It's a thing. It's easily a thing. It's not even hard to do as well.
Right.
It's kind of just like, thanks, druid, you buffed poison rangers.
Like we're getting Stardew Valley.
That's kind of just what happened.
Yeah. Good. Yes, and the rain buffing lightning skills as well, like increasing shock chance. And stuff.
Druid just out here farming sim.
It's pretty wild how much stuff you've just jammed into one class here. How did you like kind of settle on a identity for the wyvern in particular? I feel like people know what a bear is, people know what the wolf is, and even a lot of the like druid stuff is pre-established as like, you got plants and you got like nature and you got like lifting up the earth, that sort of stuff.
Well, we really wanted to have a third form that was a little bit out there in terms of different from what you'd seen in another game. I mean, obviously, like every game that's got transformations has the bear and the wolf, right? That's just like the staple. But and actually, funnily enough, for that reason, we couldn't not do it. There was actually a period there where we weren't going to have a wolf because we were a little bit unhappy. With us, and it's just like, well, exactly, right?
I figured it was going to be a spider or something.
Like all the furries come out of the woodwork and like, you gotta have a wolf. How dare you? Yeah, how dare you? Exactly, right? So we're like, okay, we'll have a yeah, exactly. Don't anger them. So that was a real concern. So we decided to go. We needed the two familiar, and then we needed one that was a little bit more out there. And really, when we're looking at the bear and the wolf, it was kind of like we want the slower, harder hitting. We want the faster and like speedy kind of version, obviously being the wolf. We also wanted something that had some range elements, and then a sort of more spellcastery vibe a little bit more. And so we sort of thought about it a little bit like, what animal is ranged? Like it's not really it's kind of not a lot out there that can really sort of do that.
That's a good
and
question.
So eventually we settled on the wyvern. I mean, someone of course at one point was like, "How about a dragon?" And we're like, "What the heck? What are you talking about?" But then eventually I thought about it, and it's like, actually, you know what? There's some potential here.
If you suggested to me, I told you not to do it because there's no way you could make it look good and not look stupid. But
it eventually it was hard though. We did get there.
It actually looks pretty cool.
It looks insane.
But
Can't wait to play that.
it's kind of a spell blade almost. Like it's got a bit of a range stuff, but it's got a bit of like spell kind of melee things going on.
I mean, as it should be for Strength Int.
Yeah, and you were asking what the passive buffs were. I was looking at it before. It's like it's got buffs to freeze, shock, and energy regeneration. Actually, as well, like energy recharge. I think.
It's a shame you knew. The reason I was actually being vague is I knew what they were. I just wanted to change them.
Do something.
Sorry
cooler.
for my slight disingenuousness. I kind of feel like they shouldn't. I didn't want them to be offensive benefits.
Yeah, they're supposed to be defensive.
It forces you into certain build types. Whereas, like, if they're utility or defensive, that way they will work across all board. That's my general philosophy. So I was like, I feel like I want to have a go at trying to design the energy shield thing. I don't mind. I wanted to have a go at designing stuff that's more utility or defensive only, and that way you don't feel like, I should have to play lightning or fire because it gets the passive benefits. Okay. That way, if you wanted to do a kind of weird out there thing, it doesn't feel so bad. But we'll see what I come up with.
Do you have an idea, or are you still figuring it out?
Nah, I got no clue. I don't know. You could play on the fact it's got wings to something defensive for block, or something for hard carapace maybe, or. I don't know, the thing has wings, something to do with the wings.
So much dragon lore to pull from. I got like a book that my daughter really likes to read that's like full of dragon lore. I'll send you some ideas.
All right, sweet, yeah. Dragon, they hoard gold, right? Gold finds?
Yeah, totally.
That sounds like it.
Eat piles of gold for buffs.
You get more gold.
They quick shapeshift, pick it up, shapeshift back. No, I'm obviously joking, please. I'm not doing that.
Gold find, no, please don't. Mandatory dragon gold find build. I know it's kind of funny though. It's distinctly PoE.
It would be, yeah.
So the druid is this like strength int class, and with the Templar we had the idea more of like you've got that armor energy shield stuff, but that's still the case here, as that's the strength int base. But I feel like the energy shield stuff is not as iconic to druid. How have you incorporated that and made it feel like something that makes sense, or like in what ways have you incorporated that to the druid? I feel like it's not obvious.
Look, it's a little bit off in terms of the feel there, but at the end of the day, we kind of don't really have many options as far as what we can do. I mean, like that, it is important for it to be that it has that, like armor.
Maybe you can reskin
approach. There's a few sort of interesting, what do you call them, spirit like reservation gems. I don't know what the
instead of it being like a blue
sort of
energy shield, maybe it's like plants.
So there's like that bark skin thing that effectively allows you to take advantage of energy shield to generate armor. Like, so when you lose energy shield, you get armor instead, and like it like creates little bits of bark on your skin.
Cool.
There's like things like that we've added, but it's a little bit of a thematically weird thing. I think probably the weirdest part about that is like, you're gonna have energy shield as a bear. It's a bit strange, like, getting hit as a bear and then there's a little energy shield pop. But I mean, it is what it is. It kind of has to be that way.
Well, you don't have to.
Well, I suppose, sure, you can get full armor if you want, but
I feel like because there's like such a range of identities within that one class as well, that you've got the bear maybe that doesn't really align as much with that. There's definitely more armor stuff.
Yeah, so you could build more strength when depending on what animal form you're playing, of course.
Yeah, whereas like the wyvern potentially has more of that kind of magical aspect to it, where it's like that's
I mean, and that's why the wyvern itself does get the benefits to energy shield, and the bear does get the benefits to armor, in order to kind of make it so you are, like, depending on what animal form you're going, there's a bit of alignment in the defenses there.
I mean, really, it's the tree that inspires and motivates this, right? Like, a sorceress could be on the bottom side of the tree and still have the same skill set, and obviously the damage nodes are a bit weird, but it could work. There's nothing saying. I mean, that's part of the beauty of the game as well.
Yeah, I mean, I had that experience where I was like, because it wasn't as clear, I was almost inventing my own lore there a little bit, where I was speccing the regen from the druid, and then the Zealot's Oath right there. I'm like, oh, this actually, like, you're converting your natural kind of like life regen into energy shield. Like, this is kind of the druid's thing. Like,
I mean, that is a way for sure. Like, keystones certainly are pretty powerful, and we have a bunch of, I think there's an extra. I can't remember what it's doing. There's one that says "Do not translate" on it, so it's in progress. But yeah, we were playing around with trying to have some armor, energy shield, more hybrid stuff going on with the keystones there. It was based on what's it called? PoE one's is it Divine Shield? Is that the name of the keystone? I can't remember. Too many names. But it's based on that, but not exactly the
what
same.
Do you want
like a
with
derivative of that we're trying to get going.
1,500 to 2,000
we
nodes.
need more keystones that I feel more druidy, and I know there's a
not that
rage
many
one there
keystones,
that
but
is
you get what I
embracing the animal ferocity, where it like what does it do? It's like doubles your maximum rage, but makes you don't get inherent bonuses from rage. So it's like if you really want to do the skills that are rage consumers, like rampage, and you just want to rampage for as much time as possible, you obviously go for that keystone. You lose the benefits of rage, but you get to rampage around for twice as long. Sure. So a few things like that we're trying to add that are thematic as well. And I think that's another one of the really cool parts about adding a class is 1/6 of our tree was just filled with just placeholder garbage. Like actually, like there's a giant link thing there. There's no links in the game really. It's like what are we doing with that? It's like, and so I was like, well, that looked like a vine. Just make that a plant thing. And, so now it's a plant thing that
Just
talks
make
about
it a plant
overgrown
thing,
plants.
right?
But we filled in that whole bit of the tree, and guess what?
just a
Now
plant
witches
thing
and
now.
sorceresses have more energy shield stuff on that kind of direction around towards the druid, and warrior has more, and and I don't just mean energy shield, I mean everything, all the mechanics, right? All the int mechanics are kind of there, the strength mechanics, everything. So
It is nice we finally have a class in every different part of the tree, so like we don't have this like weird open stuff anymore.
Yeah, that area of the tree was a little strange. I mean, it's such a massive tree already, and you're adding more to it. And then like I have to wonder, like you added this Oracle class. Like, I saw the Shaman one, I was like, yes, this is exactly what I expected. But then I saw the Oracle, and you guys had like 130 extra
So
passives.
So far.
Like, why do you do this to yourself? Like, that seems ridiculous.
it's fun.
Because it's cool.
Exactly.
Because it's cool. There
That's
really
the
is
best
no other
reason you could ask for, right?
Yeah.
I was like,
more can you want?
I really went through. I mean, I know we showed 2 examples, but I was like, I really want to make sure there's like cool off-spec stuff here. I want to make sure that if you want to be able to get more of a certain thing, this is a way to do it. I mean, at the end of the day, it still costs passive points to allocate, right? So it's more about, maybe you want some stuff that normally you'd have to go to the deck section for and get, maybe some projectile related stuff, and now you can get it up there because it allows for some kind of weird off class. And it was all themed around, if you got to live your life again, what would you change? Like what different paths would you take? And so it's this interesting like
It's an existential crisis as a node.
That fits period.
Initially, I always do write my little blurbs about them to get them in the live stream, and I was like, it's got all the passives not yet added to the game. I thought it was an interesting way of looking at it. Not that that's actually how it is, but I thought it was like a kind of, it's like lessons you learn, you get to now use in advance kind of. I thought it was just a cool thematic thing that linked to the class. And it's easy, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
As designers to see that kind of thing and go, we have a million things to do. Like, is that really, like that's too much time, too much
Oop. That's not
work, right? And I'm just like,
okay.
if we say that about everything, you get nothing cool.
Yeah.
And so it's that, and I mean, even the shamans, like runes revealing hidden
Stream is
powers, like we're setting ourselves
framey,
up
but
for a large amount of cumulative time over a while, right? Any rune we add, we have to add and consider the shaman stats, and that's another whole axis of things. We have to meta balance every league, and same with the oracle passives. And every time we change the tree, and like when we eventually add the Templar, we're going to have to relocate all those nodes because that tree's going to get a giant. Now we've got 2.5 classes in one section, but it's worth it. It is actually worth it. You add so many builds, so many cool things, and if you don't want to deal with it, just pick another class. It's fine. You don't have to, or pick other nodes on the same class. You don't have to take that node. So
I think this like very clearly communicates that you're also okay with this idea of there being just like hidden cool stuff to discover that you're not going to know ahead of time, because you can't like look at the class options on the character selection screen and know what the passives are going to be that are hidden behind the Oracle ascendancy, right? So it's like, yeah, that's cool, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's always going to be community tools, and they're going to come up with a way to make that, to the build guides and all that kind of stuff. So
it'll be out before
I love
the game's out,
stuff.
probably.
I actually got my secret Abyssal Lich.
Yeah, wild.
It was an actual final secret, and maybe there's more. Well, you
want to do more
know.
of that, don't you? I can tell. Look at him. He wants to do more.
Of course, I love it. I love people having cool secret things they can find, and it isn't just like 1,000% pre-planned. out of the gate. Like, I understand the need to plan. I understand the need to have confidence in a build, and you don't want to go in and only realize you've made the wrong decisions and stuff like that, for sure. But I definitely want to find that balance where you have that while you also get your cool secrets that you get to add to the game that are fun.
Yeah. I think there's like a couple more chat questions on Druid, but we'll try and move on to the other stuff soon because I know people want to talk about the other thing. I could talk about Druid all day. I think the design's super interesting here. But
I do want to talk about the Val
I think
thing.
People are a bit confused about like the talismans and the forms and how that stuff works. So the talismans are effectively just like another weapon.
Yeah, exactly.
And things like attack speed, movement speed on gear, and everything will affect you in your movement.
Absolutely.
Animal
Right.
forms. It's not like, I think because a lot of other games do it where when you change form, like all of a sudden, oh, your weapon's not affecting you, or this thing's not affecting you.
Well, I mean, effectively, so we're doing the changing form by utilizing. Utilizing weapon swaps, so you've got two weapon sets inherently, and the talisman effectively serves as your weapon. Like if you're playing a druid, you are going to have to learn how to use weapon specialization passives and stuff like that if you want to have the spellcaster and melee thing. Now, a lot of the passive tree nodes, like in the druid section of the tree, all have like attack and spell damage and that kind of stuff. So like certainly for most of the start of the class, you won't have to worry about it. But as you get deeper in, and if you want to do hybrid spell attack, you are going to have to think about like, okay, what are my attack passives, what are my spell passives, and do that.
I was actually surprised at how simple and straightforward it was to do. So like the weapon specialization tree thing, you still do need to think about and understand how that works. But the basics of it, like using the actual skills, just happen automatically.
Think they're
Like,
having
you never have to actually go in and
No, you don't have to worry about that part. Just because of the fact that because this has always been the rule, but it's really apparent here. Like if it'll swap to the weapon set that can use the ability, so therefore you don't have to actually tweak. You just put it in and it kind of works.
Like if I tried to use my spell, it would shift to human automatically and use the staff. So like that was all automated,
right? Okay,
and I didn't have to like program anything like that.
Right.
It just clicked for me.
Like I have on some other builds, I guess, where it's a bit.
Yeah,
more
mostly that's just because you get into a situation with those where because it's usable on both. Now you have to start going in there and tweaking that stuff. But here, because it makes it much simpler when you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, so there's a decent onboarding there, given the potential complexity of that. All right, so we'll move on now to the Fate of the Val expansion, and there's definitely more of a like clear divide between the two things, and you even actually made two separate trailers this time around.
Well, it would have been super weird to have these like two completely clashing themes in the trailer. So yeah, in the end we were like, normally of course we'd make one trailer with everything, but we're kind of like, man, it's really hard to unify these two things in a kind of reasonable way. So yeah, in the end we decided to go with two trailers and just like show the content completely separately.
And they're not connected. Like they
not at all,
have
right?
to be, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
They're not. Aside from both of them having a buttocks in it, they're not connected.
That was total accident, by the way. It was just like two totally unrelated.
Yeah, sure. I was praising the equality of it. Like, that was great. Buttocks is for everyone here in this trailer. Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So this expansion is, and we saw this a little bit where you tried to work in the previous League mechanics into like story quest stuff, which I was super keen on.
That was fun.
This expansion definitely feels much more deeply linked into the campaign and story, to the point where like Doriani's saying, go back in time and try and change these things that happened in the campaign. I was like, this feels like a major campaign story beat. Going on now.
There's a few things going on there. So, like initially, this league, unlike I think what we've done too much of in the past, the storyline develops quite a lot more, kind of like through the campaign with different events that happen and sort of link in a lot. And part of the reason originally for that is that one of the things we sort of don't like necessarily about what leagues do is like you've got this situation where you like walk out of town in like literally the first area, and it's like some eldritch entity is immediately recruiting your services. You know what I mean? Like it's actually very like unfortunate.
Put this rusty thing in your body.
Exactly right. So we kind of wanted to try and make sure that there's a little bit more like it doesn't feel like the world is on your shoulders like right from the get go. Like there's actually like a little bit a growth of epicness throughout.
I'm not quite comfy in my chair.
So like if we'd have had it, so it's like you're time traveling into the past. Like the moment you walk out the gate, it's like okay, it's just not quite right. So we decided what we'll do is we'll make so that there is the temple. We've got a kind of like almost a baby version of the mechanic where you've got a lesser number of rooms. Like it's kind of a bit simpler, like to start out with, and then once you pass the sort of key point in the storyline, then it like really opens up. You go into the past. You've got a little more story stuff going on.
I like that.
It did add quite a lot more work to kind of have to make two versions of a bunch of things and that kind of stuff. But I think it is worth it because it means that it feels like the league has a lot going on, and it just doesn't kind of break you don't break immediately the feeling of the world, which has been a problem in the past.
I have very strong opinions on this one. It's like dark horror gothic secondary 3 dimensions deep of I'm in the past or in some sort of demon realm now. I don't know what's going on here.
And I mean, it's fine as you go, but this is actually one of the challenges I think we're going to have just designing leagues generally, is that they're going to require a bit more work to make them feel right. I mean, even just something as simple as like the Vaal sacrifice circles that you get throughout the world. Normally what we would have done is like make one thing and call it a day. Here what we've done is we've got like 10 or more. It's a ton of variations of those, where for like each act we're like, and like for each area we're thinking like, okay, which like we need more of these so that we can use them so they feel natural in the place where they are, like do a bit of material reskin, stuff like that. Like that's kind of the stuff that we now need to do to sort of make it feel like you're not breaking the world stuff.
The PoE 1 style,
but it'll be worth it, like you said, like
betrayal basement. You just okay, so there's just a basement everywhere, like in the mud flats. Like, okay, that just doesn't fly anymore at all. So like we want to make sure that these things are way more believable.
Right.
Like you are actually convinced. You're like, this makes sense. I'm not just in a basement in the mud flat in a swamp. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Vaal is a very distinct thing, and it's very like tied to Act 3 as well. So I was a bit worried about like the tone of Act 1 with the Vaal stuff, but then like it fits in reasonably well. Like you've definitely taken good care to make sure that it doesn't.
Well, I mean, it's a matter of making it feel like there's some ancient ruin that then later someone came along and like some Ezomites went in there and they built some stones around it because they're like, well, what is this thing? And like we just thought a little bit about like how would the culture here have reacted to the fact that there was this ancient ruin from long ago in this location and that kind of thing. Yeah,
okay, interesting. And you mentioned to me that this is the bar for what you want to be doing. This is the quality level for what you want to be doing.
So I'd say that like it does sort of I would say here, like the level of polish and the stuff that we're doing, like the amount of content that a league needs to actually be good. Like, obviously when we did 020, the league was a little bit like, it was just the Asmerian spirits, and like, I mean, it was a league, but it wasn't really. Didn't have like the depth of content and stuff that you needed. And then with 030, I think we did a lot better. Like it came a lot better, but I still don't think we quite got there in terms of
like
the
PoE 1 level kind of.
And then this one here, I think like you get up to the level of quality that we really want to be delivering in PoE 2, like post release and everything, and like the kind of the amount of content you need for a league.
That's good.
Like, it needs to be quite sizable and good, and it did take a lot of effort, but I think it's worth it because you sort of shows you what we can do when we. I was gonna say that's like a high bar that you've effectively kind of like locked in committing to for expansions. Hopefully I don't come to regret it, but it's and honestly the scope did explode a little bit because when we I think that one of the things so when I initially designed the league, I was kind of like, okay, we're going to have like some limited number of rooms. We kind of spec'd it out, and like we, and each one will have a few levels, and it kind of didn't seem like it was that large. But really, in the context of PoE 2, it's like, well, if you're going to spend effort to upgrade a room, it needs to feel meaningfully different and have meaningfully better rewards and all that stuff. And it pretty soon expands into like a really huge list of like different combat encounter mechanics and different like crafting mechanics and different rewards and everything. Like, there are so many new rewards and things in just in the temple. It's crazy. There's a lot there. Like, certainly the number of expanded crafting options and all that sort of stuff. I mean, we could take some inspiration from what PoE 1 did with Incursion, in terms of double crops and stuff, but we had to make it work in a PoE 2 context.
And they did a bang-up job. There. That new system of building a temple.
I've followed your progress with designing this one from the very beginning.
Yeah, the funny thing is about that is that it actually came from a game that you recommended that I play.
I wasn't going to say
no. So you recommended that I play this game called Loop Hero, and I really enjoyed it. Then everyone's going to think that the game we're inspired by is Blueprints, but it actually wasn't. It was Loop Hero.
It was so good because I told you about that game, and then it was like a week later or something, you sent me a message like, "Hey, I've made this little program."
Yeah. So I prototyped up like a thing that for what would become the UI for Incursion. We actually ended up. It's funny because this is like the first league I've actually personally done code on in like quite a long time.
You really got into it.
Yeah. Because it was a real fun, just like evening thing to like go and just like work on this design. And one of the great things about doing that is that I got to make so many design changes just in the course of writing it, like which I don't think necessarily would have gone exactly the same way if I was getting other people to do it. So yeah, that was really fun. And just make and then effectively the back of it is like the code that I wrote, but obviously the UI of it is like a whole thing that a bunch of other people worked on and made look really awesome. But that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, what is it like about this one that grabbed you so much? Because you got so involved and so personally, like working on it at home.
Yeah,
in the evening,
I just really enjoy this kind of like little game within a game, like little metagame things. And just that dungeon design thing is just a really fun thing for me.
Tile placing.
Yeah,
good, right?
it's always it's really fun.
Love a good tile place.
You know, and I just like coming up with all the little ways that they can interact and that kind of thing, and you know, try to make one each feel a bit different and that kind of stuff. It's just a good time.
Yeah, and it's got this like iterative design where you're building a temple, you run it like it's a really small one at first, and then it crumbles a bit, but you're still kind of building on what you're doing each time.
Yeah.
It's like a weird kind of like roguelike-y thing without being a roguelike itself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I do like that.
So with that design then, I'm curious, like does it like fully reset at some point? Like for example, when you kill Atziri or
It never fully resets, but when you kill Atziri or defeat an architect, quite a lot of the temple gets destroyed. So there's this kind of destabilization thing. It goes back to not the start, but kind of I think it removes like 2/3 of the rooms. There's some number like that it gets rid of at that point, and then you kind of have to build up again. That's just. That effectively means that like when you do those options, you're getting like new reward rooms and things to play. So it's giving you new goals, and then you have to work towards those goals again. And then ideally, those reward rooms can be rewarding enough that the benefit of going back to smaller is I'd say the negative of going back to smaller is completely outweighed by the benefits you're getting from the extra rooms that you're able to place.
So you can juice it a fair bit too.
You can, yeah.
There's a lot of like modifiers that are getting added on by each room, and you can place quite a lot of them.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Do you foresee people building out like a huge temple and then kind of not having it decay as much as possible?
Yeah,
like
I mean,
Atziri?
it's absolutely intended that you'll do that. I mean, once you've defeated Atziri enough times, you've got the uniques from there, and you've done like other things like that. Then you absolutely will like probably want like for ultra end game play when you really want like the most challenging stuff, and you're just like looking to get like as many double corrupts as you can and stuff like that. You're probably going to want to keep the temple large and specifically not do the stuff that would cause it to destabilize, because if you don't kill the architect and you don't kill Atziri, then it will it'll only pull you back. I can't remember the exact number of rooms, but there's some number of rooms that go away when it's quite full, and then you can just juice it really high and have really challenging in-game scaling tier of stuff. Because one of the things we were sort of concerned about is that there is some in-game content that just doesn't really scale as hard as it needs to scale in order to make it properly in-game viable.
Yeah,
we wanted to make sure that this was not the case here, that it actually does scale enough into the in-game.
Okay, so like designed to be pretty farmable and to be pretty late game relevant.
Of course, yeah.
It gets pretty hectic with all those mods.
Yeah.
With how many rooms are on there and like.
Yeah. But also just other things that you want to do, like so for example at the start of the game, you can only you can't like store up temple runs, as it were. As you get into the game, then now we start to have it so that you can store up more runs, so that you can like map for a while, then like do a bunch of incursions.
I think we have it that eventually you can do 60 maps and then temples, and then 60 maps, then temples.
If you want. So
if you want, or you can do 6, then a temple, then 6, then a temple.
So you can effectively store 10
anywhere
runs,
in between.
10 runs
nice.
If you want.
I feel like with these things, like now I keep seeing like, you guys have thought of it.
Well, the thing is that we've got so much experience and stuff. I mean, like, so for example, the whole like taking the currency away from the temple instead of having to craft inside the temple thing.
Yes.
Like that's just a hard learned lesson from PoE 1 where, you just need
You say we thought of it, and I have, because I'm just going to bring it up. But like, and a thing about, and this is something that I'm on the fence about a little bit. Personally, but the thing with the killing architect and Atziri, destroying a bunch of the temple, creating that clash of either farm temple or farm boss, can be quite a divisive thing for people.
Right.
You're looking at Betrayal Katarina, right? And the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, we've now on PoE 1, we separated those two things so they're not, because it always felt bad doing one or the other. Or I could feel bad doing one or the other, depending on how the balance went. And so you might get a similar thing here. Now, of course, the amount of the temple that can get destroyed is variable, and there's a bunch of stuff we can obviously tweak. But yeah, like getting that right and feeling right will be important. It's honestly hard to say if it is right now. But it's a thing, we say we've thought about it, but it can be very easy to see that and be like, hey, they're doing the same mistake they've made last time. Which...
Yeah, I can see that at the same time.
Depending on, honestly, having the lever this time in place of how much gets destroyed instead of entire board reset kind of thing. We get to control that a lot better and iterate on that if we need to. So
that's true.
We've thought about it, but it can. I could see, because I was just thinking about it, going, I reckon people are going to get mad at this. And I was just looking at it, going like,
probably.
It's
the PoE community, of course they will.
I can't farm the bosses. I either have to pick bosses or pick temple. It can be quite bad.
Well, so that's clear then that you've kind of already got your hand hovering over the lever waiting to like adjust it as needed.
Yeah, and it's honestly kind of hard to know with, I mean, even if you, again, The
the thing with this sort of stuff specifically is you're talking about that's the type of gameplay that is hard to test internally.
Yeah,
because how can you do just like you can't really test like what is weeks of grinding gonna feel like, you know? It's yeah.
So I expect us to maybe we hit the sweet spot. Who knows? Hopefully, but I could imagine that this is a thing that gets adjusted for sure.
Yeah, so you've made the like the ability to sell like the corruptions, the double corruptions as an itemizable thing you can just take away and sell. Is there any reason to like itemize the temple like we did in PoE 1?
Nah, so that was really more of a band-aid solution in PoE 1 because we didn't have an easy way to change that. Like I'd prefer that the temple is your temple and that you don't sell them, but just that all the rewards are the things that you can trade. Like trading the rewards was the reason why I did our temple itemization in the first place. Yeah, just if this time I feel we're just making sure to design the stuff in a way that can, you know, be take back.
Initially I was like,
no need for the band.
Why can't you trade a temple? But then the answer
there's some really basic crafts that, like, you know, your classic exalted orbs and stuff like that. Mostly, honestly, in the campaign.
Yeah.
And this is so when you're doing the temple, you're getting not just the opportunity, like, because obviously some of that double corrupt stuff, you're not going to do that at like level 8, you know.
You're not.
I mean, Val orbs aren't even in the game at that point. Yeah. So you have this thing where. It's like, well, you don't get a lot of the crafting. Now, there are still rewards. There is, of course, all of that, but there's also just basic crafts like exalts and regals and stuff you can just throw on your gear. Now, you can't take those, and that is an intentional decision so that you feel like you're actually wanting to use it on your gear in the campaign and as you're progressing. And you're not, because if you can take it, most of the time you're just going to hoard it for in-game.
Right. So it's those things to make the early game have more crafting stuff that you want to just use right there.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, what stops you from just like keeping your results until end game?
Yeah.
You want to use those patches then.
You'll see those and go, I want to take that home, but just use it.
Yeah.
You know?
It was a substantial buff to campaign crafting from my experience of messing with it so far. It's like you basically go in and there's like 6 crafting rooms and you're like just go on a little crafting spree of like upgrading your gear. Like,
I mean the temple pretty good. It's funny because there's always the question whenever we make a league of like, well, what if people always say, oh, there's no reason to do this during the campaign, and it's like we really have to incentivize that to make it so that no, there's actually worth doing. Like you're going to get a substantial power boost if you decide to engage with the league.
Yeah, you could. It seems like you can kind of like hold off as well. Like you can be like, oh, my gear's kind of okay now. I'm going to do that a little bit later.
You always want it to be both feeling rewarding and give you obviously an advantage, and also not feel so mandatory that you're like, ugh, what?
Yeah, it felt like kind of a bit optional in the sense that like, oh, I really need some gear upgrades now. Let's go into the temple and spice up all my gear.
Perfect.
Nice.
That's what we want.
Yeah, cool. And it is interesting that you've got this like raiding the broken down version of the temple in the beginning, and then it basically changes into this whole other thing halfway through the campaign.
I love that.
That story beat there.
The other thing about the campaign thing is the same thing we learnt from Abyss, where we did the area specific rewards throughout the campaign. We have also dropping here from the in-world encounters. So even if you're not doing the temples, doing the in-world encounters can give you that extra drop per area.
It seems like on the back end, maybe you've kind of taken what Abyss was doing and almost shifted it over.
There's some modifications, but it's the same kind of thing.
We've effectively got our, allocated amount of rewards and crafting and stuff for what a league is allowed to do and should do. And we're just trying to make sure that, it fulfills that it fills that budget, so to speak. Of
you're getting a lesser jewels orb in Keth or something like that, kind of similar to before, which is good. But I was definitely, that was a huge thing with Abyss. I thought that was like a really good improvement to campaign, so it's good to see continuing with that. Then it felt pretty successful as a design decision. Nice. I'm really glad double corruption is back. I feel like that's a great thing from PoE 1 to be returning.
One thing we've changed here is that because double corrupt existed in PoE 1,
I think it's popping up there at least.
You never Valorb gear. Well, I don't want to say never. Obviously, there are still cases, but generally speaking, why single corrupted when you could double corrupt? So we've made sure here that the double corrupt has to occur on top of a corrupted item.
That's cool.
Right. So you have to Valorb land it, and then you have to land the double corrupt on top of that.
Oh man, it almost feels like you're in some cases risking something even more, because like you've got that really high end unique with like a really good corruption already, and now you're risking that. You're not just risking a blank item on a double corruption. So like it's a heftier risk now in some cases.
I like it.
That's the Val spirit right there.
Like, oh man, this thing's already worth many divines at this point. I was like, oh no.
Some good streamer moments. So.
So you actually have to though, like it has to be crafted.
Yep, so you craft it first and then you can apply the double craft.
Okay, cool. Well, it keeps the usefulness of the Vial Orbs there as well. To kind of
I didn't want the Vial Orbs to just. I mean, you'd still use them on like Waystones or whatever, but. I didn't want them to just be like never used on gear anymore because you'd rather just double corrupt it. And so it was a suggestion a developer made a while back, and I was like, that's immediately a win, and I almost want to change that in PoE 1 as well, but then I just forgot about it, to be honest. So, I'm not sure if I do want to do that just before everyone maybe goes like, what the hell? No.
Of course.
But,
consider it.
I like the idea, and I think it is an overall improvement,
Yeah, it sounds like a great idea. And then you've got this whole other system now, which you had a little bit of it in PoE 1 recently, where you can corrupt uniques and it replaces a random modifier on them.
Yes.
So this is limited to specifically Adziri. No, what
Not Adziri, Val uniques. Yeah, so I really wanted to make it so you could just replace arbitrary mods on any unique. But the problem is, it was just a can of worms that was just not even possible to contain.
Yeah, no.
So
you're better off
basically
not
what we
doing
were
that.
like, okay, is there still a way to do this that's like not going to be quite so crazy? And then we were like, okay, if we can pick a subset of uniques, and we ended up going with Val uniques, for obviously thematic reasons, then we can sort of make sure that like while it's still crazy, like there's still sort of insane interactions, we can kind of at least have somewhat of an understanding of what happens. But it does truly work where like it picks a random mod that's on the item and then replaces it with another random mod. So you can create some.
You can use it on non-Val. It works differently.
Huh?
I don't know. This is news to me. I didn't actually know that.
What
does that?
Excuse me?
I think it's similar to Ancient Orb in PoE 1. So it like re-rolls. The idea here is like it's meant to work on these Val items because they've been like
incompatible item error.
infused with royal bloodline blood.
Okay.
And so it's like the way it works on Val uniques is different to just random uniques where it's like, hold on, it works a bit more chaotically here and, just changes the item entirely to something else on non-Val. So, and I only say that because obviously it's pretty bad to be like, I have to have a Val unique in order to use this. Now, no, you can take the currency home, so that's never the end of the world. But I want it to be like, just go grab some random unique and re-roll it. Using it on the Val uniques is like quite cool. Right now, I'm trying to make sure, a process that we've been doing is that we're not just replacing it with kind of just some random basic stuff. Like, that will happen. That is a part of the pool, but we're trying to go through, because we have a more limited set of uniques we have to actually do the mod replacement on. I want to make sure we're actually thinking about, for example, the Xerfes body armor that has, like, Soul Leader. And it's like a level 39 base type.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, this is a tool we could use to make that more in-game viable. And so you can do things like heavily increase the defenses, because obviously level 39 versus a level 75 base type or whatever is going to have very different defenses. But then you can also be like, what about if I was like, what other weaknesses does this item have? Well, you can't generate Soul Leader stacks on a boss. Maybe this can turn that on, and so all of a sudden you can replace, I don't know, the life regeneration rate with a Soul Leader now generates once per second while a boss is in your presence or something like that, Now, these are kind of examples, but that was a specific one that I really wanted to do. So, but then I was like, I don't know, what if you did plus 25 Soul Leader stacks and stuff? But it's like very specific outcomes, very specific to that unique.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do a bit of that to use it as an opportunity to be able to save low-level uniques, if you know what I mean, to make them more in-game viable.
That this was
and
also
I thought that was a cool way. And obviously that's restricted to the Val pool for now. But like, if it works and works successfully, there's no reason
the way
that like, some other mechanic
that
can't do it
PoE 1 latest league works. Where you have a tree and you can corrupt,
now, obviously, because
change.
I don't know how far through we'll get with all of these specific, because it's like a lot.
I think that's
of stuff.
the same
Once
thing.
you start doing specific things with specific uniques,
There's so many
it's
things.
a lot of stuff to implement. So I don't know how far, but I was like, let's start with the mythic uniques, the rarest, most powerful ones, and we'll work backwards, getting to the more common, ones at the end.
I mean, you've also got the general like buffing of a bunch of other uniques as well, right? I mean, there's a lot of that.
Yes, true. And I mean, that was part of that when I was like, okay, how can we buff this? How can we buff this? How can we buff this? And then I was like, well, a lot of them are like, this is too low level. And I was like, well, we have this system in the league. So yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes, hopefully. And it's the kind of thing where even if we don't, obviously these leagues end up often going core in some various means. So if we don't hit the mark entirely with all the uniques, I'd like to eventually get there where we'd have a good, cool, really thought out set for literally every Val unique. So hopefully that's fun. And then you do the cool things. You just get these really, really... I assume you're going to get some that have these... You replace the exact 2 bad sides with the exact 2... Because you can replace more than one sometimes.
Oh.
And you get the you get the exact, like, holy, this unique just went from being worth, something 1 divine to 300 divine, kind of territory. So hopefully that happens. If it doesn't happen, I'll be a bit sad. But we'll try. You can never know with these things for sure.
And this includes the new, like,
It
Adzira
sounds
uniques
cool,
that
though.
she's dropping then, obviously,
Yep.
since she's kind of the queen of the Val.
Yep, Adzira uniques, Trial Master uniques, a bunch of stuff. So
It's a fair few there then. Is that something that you anticipate
Excuse me.
expanding upon in the future then? Like,
I mean, we'll be always adding more Val uniques.
Right.
So yes,
But in terms of for other cultures, that would probably come in a different form, in
Yeah.
a different league mechanic or some other place like that.
yeah, that makes sense for sure.
In terms of the overall idea of upgrading low level uniques.
Yeah. Did you ever like discuss the idea of Val's skill gems? It feels like weird to like add that when you're still adding regular gems.
It doesn't quite. So I mean, fundamentally, what a Val skill gem is in PoE 1 is like kind of
Hey,
ultimate type style
Chrono.
ability in
Yeah.
some sense,
Good
So it's
evening,
like
brother.
we're kind of
How you
doing that in our
doing?
normal
Doing it,
gems
yeah.
at this point.
Or-
So it didn't really quite make sense to do it
7
here.
hour, afternoon.
glory
Afternoon
on the
for you.
scales.
Glory
is
kind
kind
of,
of
kind
Val
of
I'm doing well. How are
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I figured. That
Welcome in.
it's kind of like you'd only be really doing it for nostalgia value
right.
at this point, I think.
Now, that isn't to say there won't be something in the future, but I agree that doing something like that when you haven't even got, all the classes and skills in place and all that, I would say that's like a post-release feature, not a pre-release feature.
Well, at least they're
kind of thing.
coming.
Yeah.
That's good.
And are you still kind of with challenge leagues planning on having things like challenges, challenge rewards, etc.
So
post-launch?
So the plan for that was post-launch. Like
Yeah.
it basically was kind of like during early access. It doesn't quite make
I'm
sense
doing
to
well.
do that.
Just woke up getting
but,
ready
yeah,
for
post-launch.
for setup for my stuff.
All right,
Awesome, man.
Shifting onto
Hope you
the
slept
topic
well.
of endgame, but
Figured I'd stop by and say
first,
hey.
just a brief
Well,
detour.
hey.
How the
Yeah, thank you for stopping by.
ancestors
I
or
do
the
appreciate it.
history content in the new act.
I'll
and our third
I'll
means
see
of
if we
ascending.
can drop you a
How's
little raid
the
or something
progress
afterwards.
Like on that?
Well,
I don't know when this will be over, but we'll try.
It'll need to come obviously at some point. But
yeah, thanks for stopping in, man. I hope
didn't
you have a
time
great
in
stream.
this one certainly to work on that.
It keeps coming up. It is really just a matter of when, at what cost, etc. The classic, just resource distribution kind of things where it's like, when are we going to do it, and what, instead of this, and we have all these different ideas, and so it's just. But right now, nothing.
All right. So on endgame, firstly, thanks for nerfing the delirium fog.
Yeah.
You saw the memes, I guess.
For sure.
So I've been enjoying all the foggy memes everywhere. That's good. Visibility
It was
improvement for
kinda
endgame,
bad.
but not
Like,
only that, you guys didn't just tone down the fog. You've done some pretty major things with the
So I mean,
tablet waystone system.
I mean, the very first question, and before we even toned down the fog, the first question was, okay, well, why do you feel like you have to run every map this way in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Like the fact that something feels mandatory is already a problem. Regardless of the
Yeah.
fact that the
Thanks, man. I hope you
effect
enjoy
is
the rest of
also
your
annoying.
stream. Oh, will do. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
That was the first thing to solve, and it really then started coming into, okay, well, like how people are finding waystone crafting more annoying. We only made it more annoying in Abyss with the
We're having fun so far,
having to go
so,
somewhere else, and
yeah.
like it just made it not
It's a good reveal.
like, not particularly great. So yeah, the first question is, well, how can we fix this problem, right? Like, and effectively we're kind of like, we can go two ways with this. We can either make it so that every league has something that feels mandatory that multiplies with the rewards, or we can say no leagues do, in which case it's more about like which league do you want to run for different for various different content that they can provide. So we decided to go with no leagues do, because I think that it's probably just like
best
less busy
choice.
work, less annoying. Like if every league gave you something that you needed to like craft and do something with, it just would have been a pain. Which is why even in the live stream we're like, from this point on, just like waystones, they all get regular, they'll have the regular crafting, just regular base currency, but we're never going to add to them again and like a thing that requires you to do more crafting than that. Another layer of that, because I think that having to do that every map is too frequent. Doing it on the tablets means that it's just way less frequent that you have to do these things, which helps a lot. And then, of course, the question was, well, how can we make sure that we're not like doing a nerf to overall juicing potential here? So then we had to look into, how can we get back the, the power you had? So that's when we got into the extra mods on tablets and things like that, in order to sort that out.
Now, obviously, you were hoping to do more endgame for this expansion. So what's kind of happened with the
Well, I guess the sort of two things that we see as like the major problems in endgame. One of them is when you get there, it can feel like you don't really have a proper goal. Like you don't have an immediate like, okay, here's a quest to do this and a quest to do that and that kind of stuff. So there's like a little bit of that missing. And that really is a content thing that just requires us to expand upon what a league is. Now, something like something like Fate of the Vaal, it immediately has story stuff to do and so on. So when that goes to endgame later, you'll have like storyline things sort of built in a way that can like make it so you've got that. But the other leagues don't have that as much, so we need to really make sure we're expanding on those. But the other thing as well is the Atlas tree just needs a lot more love and attention and like the way that it works and all that sort of stuff. So we just need to do a lot not there.
I opened that tree yesterday and I was like, oh, this sucks.
It's not tragic.
It sucks.
I've not played the PoE 2 one, but
it good, you have to spend a lot of time and attention making new notables that are cool, that require like actually modify things in cool ways and like actually really meaningfully do something, and that's just a lot
this
of time.
is Path of Exile 2.
Do that. So,
do you have an idea for what you want to do with
if you're familiar with Diablo,
tree side of things?
similar
like,
thing,
is it
but
kind of angling more towards what you've done in Path of
different.
Exile?
It's inspired by Diablo 2.
I don't think we should be talking about that yet, just because that'll be it's more for later.
It's
but
a sequel to
with the things we want to do.
PoE 1. Path of Exile 1. This is a new league, new expansion.
Trying not to spoil anything here.
And we're getting to Druid.
We're spoiling the fact we are doing something. And I'll tell you, it's not even. It's not the same. It's not similar.
Just saw the screen
it's
after us.
It's in a whole different universe.
It was timing.
So it's kind of like, which makes it a little bit hard because obviously we're in this state where we want feedback about the in game.
Yeah, it's
and
tricky.
so I do want to put like people should keep giving feedback because I don't want people to think they're reworking it in game anyway, so I'm not going to say anything just in case. You never know.
There's
and we
also different parts of the in game that kind of are like independent.
Yeah, we're getting
just things like how
we're getting like
works.
a really nice expansion.
Yes,
it's
that
not
tree
that
is
big,
effectively gonna be
but it's really good. I think it looks good at
that
least.
will get a full drastic change.
We're
And
getting like a new class druid who can shapeshift into a bear or a wolf or a dragon or a wyvern, technically speaking. But
and then there's
and then we're getting like a new league, a sort of like new mechanic, if you will, that was sort of ported from Path of Exile 1, but like significantly improved.
Immediately into this infinite unguided adventure, and there's a little bit of things with the corrupted
I'm excited.
And
I'm very excited.
and like the burning
the new class looks really good.
Mostly unguided. You don't really feel like you have like, I've completed the main thing. Now I'm going to farm. At the moment,
I'm pretty sure my friend will like this. I'm not a big MMO type fan.
Really trying to drive that home.
This isn't necessarily an MMO.
And then the other thing
this
that's
is
honestly
like
we spoke about
not a
upgrading
single
the
player
leagues
game.
and
It is
more
online,
bosses is like,
but you usually play alone.
That whole like having King in the Mist and Olroth is the pinnacle bosses of the leagues. Just being like copy pastes from PoE 1,
but
was not our end goal. You know what I mean? Like
PoE 1 is the original
right now, and like
free
honestly
game
need
that's
to
out.
be.
PoE 2 is technically still in
up the epic a lot, so we've got a lot of that coming.
Beta,
and then just general upgrades to the leagues. Like
it's paid for now, but
Ritual has the whole.
It'll become free eventually.
Too good, and others are just like, well, why would I do this? And there's a bit of that going on. So just a general balance, and via adding more content and different axes and all kinds of stuff. So there's heaps coming. But based on all that, to answer the original, is that's how you can see how it didn't make the cut, because it is a ton of work. It turned out to be way more than we had anticipated, and it was just like, oh, damn, we kind of talked about wanting to do an in-game upgrade, a big revamp in 040, and now we've got too much work, and we still believe it's the right thing to do, so we're going to commit. And normally we've often get faced with the option: do we cut it down to make it fit?
So incredible in terms of like their communication and transparency
to it all and do
these
it.
sorts of things.
And I don't think in this case we could have cut anything
these are some of the
kind of just honestly,
in my opinion, best developers in the live service industry.
We need to do it all, which means unfortunately, yes, it's not going to make 040. But then we were like, well, we can't just now do nothing. So what can we do? Well, obviously we're not just going to be like, because we're doing an 050, we'll just leave the fog alone.
Yeah.
Obviously bad, which was a bug, by the way.
Really?
All fogs, like the volumetric fogs in the game, have a cutout around the player.
Yeah.
That like cuts out and then tapers off. and all fogs in the games, there's multiple different fogs, had it except for Delirium Fog. It was the only fog that didn't have this. So that was we can start there by re-adding it, and then we'll iterate until we feel like it's about right. But yeah, kind of sad when you look into these things and you're like, oh damn. Oops. It was just broken the whole time. But either way, a player doesn't know if it's broken or just intended. So obviously, fixing it is the important thing. But yeah, I know there's the guy on Reddit doing a post every day, and
they can finally rest.
Thank you for your service.
Your watch is complete. Yes, we can actually see the ground. It was just hilarious in some maps, whereas they have holes in the ground, and there's so much fog you actually can't tell where the holes are. It's I can't move anywhere. It looked a lot better from the footage, so it's a big improvement for sure. So you mentioned that, but there was also another kind of key change that you wanted to make sure to get in this one, and that was the kind of monster density getting swarmed issue.
Yeah, that's a very interesting one because so when we were doing 031, this was actually already a thing that we were tabling and talking about.
I'm kind of curious about this one as well.
Players probably wouldn't like it because
this is an issue for me in campaign,
can be a very touchy thing, right?
Yeah.
But the funny thing is what we found was that even after we what we actually sort of heard more was we actually liked what the improvements were early in game, and we actually would wish that the rest of the end game was more like that. And we're like, okay, well, if that's the case, then the main thing we have to do is not nerf rewards, make sure that experience gain doesn't get lowered or anything like that. But overall, we don't necessarily need as many monsters as what we were having in the top. And I think this is actually going to also just generally improve things because it makes when monsters have more life like that, it makes more builds viable. Because there's obviously a point where once you can one hit everything, then there's no point in you might as well just go for whatever the fastest thing you could do that is, right?
The lightning
down again.
Right. So effectively, by making it so that monster life's a little bit higher as you get up, there, it sort of actually means that higher damage builds.
I hate to head out early, but I gotta get going. I'm glad that I caught a few minutes of your stream. Can't wait to catch more. Awesome, man. Thank you so much. I hope you have a lovely, wonderful stream. And I'll see if I can throw you a raid or something afterwards.
I mean, obviously,
I don't know, like I said, how long this is going to be, but thank you so much for stopping by, man. Hope you have a wonderful stream. Thank you.
You just don't have the
appreciate you, dude.
Need for everything to target quite so many things, and so the sort of higher damage skills that are a bit less, not more than a screen in size.
No, my screen is very, very high,
and that should hopefully improve the situation.
I thought I heard a cat.
Make sure that even if people are but I prefer the swarminess, and it was fun for my build. And the thing is, that. Speaking of Atlas tree, that's a thing where the Atlas tree should be the thing thing that you can. It's your build.
My wall mounts on my screen are pretty stiff.
For now, not doing it, but I wanted to do a thing because we're doing this whole monster effectiveness goes up more, right? I mean, it's a pretty hard thing to understand because monsters just get stronger with higher levels. So it kind of just happens. You don't really. It's not like a thing you need to worry about or anything of the sort. Right. But I want to do a thing where. You can spec into making, on the Atlas tree, I guess this is a little bit of a forward spoiler, but we're adding a little bit of it in a few places. But I want to make sure that you can invest into making monsters tougher without increasing the number of monsters, where often it's just been pack size, and stuff like that. So, but then I would love to do a thing later where you can convert that effectiveness increases you can get into pack size. So it's you know what? Nah, I want the swarmy, weaker monsters thing, and I don't want one to. At that point, you can make sure the conversion results in the exact same amount of drops, and XP and all of that stuff.
That way, you can incentivize. Well, you don't incentivize one or the other, right? It's more about what your build is, what you'd prefer, rather than being everyone has to have most pack sizes possible.
Whereas right now, pack size is just a straight up multiplicative drops XP scale. I mean. Obviously not for rares and bosses.
Not gonna lie,
but
my eyes are kind of heavy at the moment.
For a lot of people, it's a multiplicative fun scaler, and I don't want to take that away. I want people to be able to do that, but that's what the Atlas tree should be able to achieve. However, it is too chaotic at a base level.
Right.
You get this weird thing where it's the campaign has a entirely different vibe to the end of the end game now, where it's you step into the end game, it's kind of and then you get towards the end. I mean, at the start, for people who didn't play 031 onwards, it was just like, okay, I'm going through the campaign. It feels a bit more tactical, feels a bit more, intentional. My actions are more intentional. And then I get into endgame, I'm like, what the heck is going on? There's monsters everywhere. It's out of control. And so obviously 031 alleviated this a bit, but it is, I don't want it to be that there's this feeling of there's two games there. I want it to be that you build that extra layer, that you change it through your Atlas tree and through decisions you make for the end game, as opposed to it just being inherent. So if you want to, we're going to make sure that we try and keep it that if you want to make it more swarmy and that kind of stuff, you can, but it doesn't give you a drop advantage necessarily over the tougher monsters. There are reasons to do both. That's fine. There'll be heaps of mechanics and stuff, but like, ideally, you can kind of play the game you want to play the game. And so in our tree and our builds, much like you can play the character how you want to play your character, we can do that with the end game as well. And that's the beauty of the Atlas tree. So and the
like add monsters, like that, but reduce loot.
But I can't. It's hard to get into more of that without getting into like kind of spoiler territory. But
that's interesting to hear that you want to kind of make things a little bit less binary, where like in the past it often has been the case where it's just like, oh, you just stack as much of all of the things you can stack, or it's just stack as much pack size or stack as much rarity as you can, but maybe having angles for both of those things, like I'm juicing pack size, or I'm juicing difficulty and rarity with. I mean, that's exciting to me because I like the ability of being able to spec content that rewards your character that has low AoE, that is like really good at like dueling really tough rare monsters. And like, we did get to see a little bit of Imperial 1 where there was different strategies for juicing, where like you had like Titanic Scarabs or something that was making like really strong rogue exiles, and that took a specific sort of build to do. So it sounds like that's kind of the direction you want to head with that, which is pretty exciting to hear. And kind of tying into this topic then, and you touched on it a little bit, was like, there's definitely been, like, it's been noticed that rare monsters seem to drop the vast majority of loot in endgame maps, or at least compared to normal and magic monsters. There's a bigger difference, I guess, than has been the case in the past. And where are you guys at with, like, noticing or feeling that, or what problems do you foresee with that? It gets talked about a lot.
I don't think it's necessarily wrong that it's like that. One of the things we really want to try to make sure of in PoE 2, when we're sort of doing a sort of from scratch pass on this, is that the amount of rewardingness of something is equivalent to the amount of difficulty that it takes to kill it. And that's kind of where, like we're trying to normalize that, because by doing that, it means that we can try to get like... we don't want a situation where like some content just is randomly just way more rewarding than other content, and so we're trying to just make sure that we're keeping tabs on that really well. And what that's kind of ended up with regard to the magic versus rare is like we've got the balance of that, where it should in an ideal would be the case that like killing a rare versus killing a white monster is does in fact drop the correct amount of rewards relative to each other. Now the issue can come with the fact is, what if your build can one hit either of them in any case? Well, so that kind of like changes, I guess, the way that feels a little bit. So but as I said, it should be the case that rares drop more than white monsters, and white monsters can drop anything still. It's just
it does make
but that balance I think is maybe off.
With what you were talking about, Mark, it seems like something you'll have to think about, because like if you want both strategies to be viable, like the pack size juicing, then there needs to be a reward, a payoff to that ultimately.
100%.
So that's something you'll be looking at then.
But I mean, as far as I'm aware, it really is the case that if you looked at entirely just around the life of the entity, the drops should be pretty equivalent to the amount of life that they had to in order to kill them, as far as like relative to each other. So if it's got 5 times as much life, it does 5 times as many more drops effectively. Like that's kind of what we're shooting for when we're trying to balance this stuff.
Yeah, I think with the balance of how things are and the options we have now, it probably makes sense. But yeah, it looks like something you'll be keeping close eye on moving forwards then.
For sure.
There's a bit of a parallel with one of the kind of issues I see in Path of Exile 1, where like everything is in reward icons, the little floating symbols. Right. And that seems like something you're trying to avoid moving forward.
We haven't really been doing that for a little while now. There was certainly a period there in PoE 1 design where it was like every single league was just like those reward icon type things, and it ended up really beiging the rewards a lot, because you just had this thing of like every league drops, every other league's drops, and it kind of didn't really like it wasn't really that great. So it's going to be a little while since we've done that stuff in PoE 1 even, and in PoE 2 we kind of steer away from it to make sure that like everything feels like it's got distinct drops and a reason to do it and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it appears in some regards. Like, for example, when you get the reward rooms in Fate of the Vow, you have a unique item room.
Sure.
Like, but it's not just like a floating symbol above the monster.
Right.
Yeah.
Which also, immersively, I don't know what the heck that is, but what is it? Is some It's just nothing. It's a clear and just obvious game
I
mechanic.
see some like floating, glowing cash money dollar bills above your head. The guy's loaded.
Whoa. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. You can't have my loot. But I just remembered, you spoke about rare monsters, and I was like, hold on, I don't think we deployed or spoke about this change, but I know that taking away all the rare minimap icons was a bit anger-inducing. Because honestly, we knew it. We knew it was going to be.
Yeah.
Now, they aren't a requirement of the map, but as you're saying, they kind of drop a lot of the loot, and people were just doing the whole minimap, coasting between minimap icons. The middle ground we've come to here, which I think is quite cool, is once you've activated all the checkpoints in the map, which sometimes is 4, 2, the things for fast traveling and respawning, then all of the things
appear on the minimap. You know, the funny thing is I thought we already deployed that.
I don't think we have.
Okay, right.
That's what I was just remembering.
We intended to deploy that back when people were complaining about it, and I feel like maybe we just kind of forgot. But it was implemented a while ago.
Map, you generally find the checkpoints. If you're
fucking ADHD coded.
You're missing rares.
We just kind of
anyway.
forgot,
I don't know, but it can happen. But it doesn't just reveal the rares; it reveals everything. Every icon. So strongboxes you missed, rogue exiles you missed.
Okay.
Just so basically you can find if there's any content that you still wanted to grab.
Now some people might argue, hold on, I'm just going to run around the entire map activating them all and then go clear. And I was like, well, okay, if you want to waste time.
Right. But you're going to clear the map while you're doing that, right? So you probably clear the whole map anyway.
Yeah, so it's kind of just meant to be a like, look, you've explored at least, I mean, like, if there's generally speaking, if you've got like a big square or circle map, you're going to have 4 checkpoints. You activate all 4. You've at least explored probably 75% of the map, right?
Right. It's about getting those last things, and
then it's like, okay, look, you're now allowed to see if you missed anything.
But then you can also use the checkpoints to get to the closest place where the stuff you missed was, which is kind of nice. So it kind of helps with that. So
I like that. That's a good idea.
I'm hoping this is a good middle ground. Because
like
then at least you've done 75% of the map.
That's really cool.
Without
That's
just
a cool
doing
idea.
blind mini-map gameplay. And then from that point on, it's like, look, I get it. You probably missed something. You know where it is now. It should actually maybe overall be even more helpful because it's not just revealing the rares. It's going to reveal even more. So you'll know about everything else you missed. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I understand that was a bit of a aggravation for a lot of people. But that's a perfect example of, again, it's it's why I don't want people to not give feedback, because like this kind of stuff still should be fixed pretty imminently. And so it's
a good case study, because I'm honestly surprised that you did do that, because this seemed like I loved the rare icons, but I was definitely a victim of the I'm only looking at the minimap now, so it kind of seemed like a change for our own good situation. But what you're doing
this
here
is a good middle ground.
It seems like it's saving the players that feel like that they're FOMOing because I know I missed like a league mechanic in the map somewhere after this, that is really bumming me out, and then they have to go and crawl back through everything and waste a bunch of time. So that's just kind of saving them that. Sounds like a good compromise change then. Nice little extra bonus reveal there. Good stuff.
Yeah. You just said rare monsters, and I just had this random
Good.
Wait,
what more
did
words
we
can
do
I
that?
say?
We should have put that in the live stream if we hadn't deployed it yet. But everyone forgot.
It's in the Q&A. Good stuff. We shall move on to kind of gear and passives, and this is in the topic of balance and character power, and this sort of stuff has been talked about a fair bit. Something that's mentioned a lot is that the ratio of player power that comes from gear versus what comes from ascendancy and passives is much more tilted towards gear than in Path of Exile 1. And so kind of like roughly for an example, like the average PoE 2 passive is like 10%, whereas the PoE 1 passive is 16%, whereas the amounts on gears are pretty similar. So like the 100% increased fire damage on a wand is consistent as tier 1 affix between both games, meaning that like more of the power has kind of been shifted away from the tree, the thing that you get by default, to gear. So this seems like a conscious decision to make gear more powerful. Is this something like you've thought about or made like specific strides?
Interesting question.
Probably the main thing that we wanted to do in PoE 2 was make it so that the tree is more, like we're trying to be more stringent about how the tree is multiplicative with what your gear does. That does make gear more important. I wouldn't say there's necessarily been a thing of like necessarily wanting to, the amount of power overall that you get from one and the other is more unbalanced, but it's just making sure that like when you are using the tree, that it's specializing your character more towards what the bonuses that your gear is giving you to kind of make the two things together like be sort of important to be thinking about both. So that was kind of our primary goal, but I don't know if you've got a different feeling about any of that.
It certainly wasn't like the passive tree being weaker. Like I guess we didn't really even think about it in the point of comparison. We just kind of like went
sound
back
like they missed the mark then.
Really back to the basics and evaluating a lot of our base balance. And so it wasn't like let's nerf it compared to PoE 1. It was more just like what do we want gear to do? What do we want the passive tree to do? What do we want? And all of that at the end of the day is just relative to then how do we want the monsters to scale and how which they're all different, right? The way that the monsters scale per level isn't the same. The way that the tree and thus the tree benefits are different. The gear is different, and everything. So again, not really. It was conscious decisions, but not conscious decisions to nerf from PoE 1 or anything of that sort. That being said, yes, I mean couple other things. I mean, we made, for example, the decision that we wanted the class stats on the tree to be weaker than the exterior. So generally the nodes are meant to go up a little bit in power as you get further away, so you don't just get the class hopping kind of thing that historically occurred in PoE 1 quite a bit.
The class stats were stronger than
you get the M on the top and stuff like that. And so that was a decision we made. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I guess we did kind of have we want gear to be more important, especially base gear. I think we maybe overcooked it a little bit right now, but just a little bit with more the ease of it, the ease of getting it. But that's a whole crafting discussion, I guess.
Talk about that
too. More of an in-game problem. But yeah, I would say, I mean, I'm personally pretty happy, honestly, with how it is.
Just that ratio of importance of gear compared to passive. I guess it's a question of how much power do you get for free, right? Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. Is if my gear if I'm wearing all white gear, how powerful is my character from just the tree? And that's a little bit lower, I think, in PoE 2.
And the reason for that
bothers some people, I guess.
The reason for that specifically is because the tree is more multiplicative than it was in PoE 1, where there was more just base stuff, there. I mean, you can look at it even in simple things like, just life on the tree, for example, right? That's sort of another example of part of the thinking there is the more base stuff is available on the tree, the more the same characters can be because they can just allocate the same stuff and get the same stuff without having to worry about the items. So yeah, that's kind of
obviously
just one of the things.
not entirely base in PoE 1, but you have base life.
I
get what you
as in life without gear.
Yeah. And where are you at on the life thing? Just since you brought it up, I guess still pretty happy with the decision to remove that from the tree.
I mean, look, we just wanted to. We just didn't. It's more that decision's mostly about not wanting every character just another one of those cases of every character being the same.
Yeah.
It's we'd rather you specialized in the defense that relates to your character rather than just the same stat that every character should use. So we'll just have that general feeling.
I mean, we've obviously still got imbalance here, and there's obviously still work to do. Never ending. So, the tree will just continue to evolve, and we added a lot of passives at some point that are a lot more powerful, and we intend to keep doing it. And now we've obviously just added all the druid ones, but not just that. We added more ignite support around the mercenary. For example, this time, as in 040, we're doing that, and then there's some changes to more prod speedy stuff because we were looking at shotguns and trying to see how can we have them scale. And it's it turns out if you get a bunch of piercing with prod speed and some other stuff, you can shoot them across the screen. And so how do you get that? Oh, there's not many, So we're doing a bunch of little increments like that, just based on what builds need. I know bleed needs a bit more love in the bottom right, and so to make it not just entirely all blood mage spear users and that kind of thing going on. So again, it's going to just, honestly, we'll just do more and more and more and more and more on the tree. I suspect you'll get more. I'm not saying I'm going to increase the value of every node, but just by the nature of how many more things you can invest in and multiplicative elements, you're probably going to end up with a lot more power coming from the tree than what you do right now. But I actually prefer it doing it that way than just increasing all the numbers anyway.
But the thing
because
is,
at the end of the day, if we then increase all the numbers and then it turns out the game is like too easy, well, then you have to nerf something somewhere or just buff monsters, and then you kind of end up in kind of the same place.
yeah.
So it's like, what did you actually achieve?
But at the same time, you only get like 100 points, right? Or like 150, whatever.
How do you feel about, like, why does ES kind of get a separate treatment when it ultimately, although it's a defense like evasion and armor, it functions much more like live? Because there's a lot of ES. Scaling and ES numbers
we're still here.
Pretty high compared to live.
We're still here.
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, that's a current balance issue for sure, but like, just because it happens to function more similar to life, they're all at the end of the day a form of effective HP, right? So, I mean, they just, as long as they're not entirely symmetric, which is what makes them interesting, which is why one works this way and the others work a different way. And but yeah, I mean, there's clearly a misbalance. I mean, you got issues with Ghost Dance obviously being a bit hectic, and
I guess
going to start listing off things I'm going to nerf, I suppose. But, like, I don't know. There's changes to be done here. There's a few changes coming. But we're at the point where I still look at it and I'm like, I'm pretty sure ES is still going to be pretty crazy. That being said, it's like, I don't want to make any last minute kind of knee-jerk reaction nerf kind of things around this. So like, because we've changed and rebalanced so much, it's really hard to know, and even changes to how the monsters scale and whatnot, it's kind of hard to know exactly how things are going to play out. So it's this kind of thing where I'm like at the point again where I'm like, all right, let's get all these changes out, see how the metas evolve, see what's good, see what's bad, and then like reevaluate it again. So ES is worse, but I don't think it's... honestly, I don't think it's nerfed enough, to be honest, is kind of where I'm at with that. So, but we'll see. We'll see.
Little nudge in the right direction, perhaps. But I know in the past when we talked about this, we discussed around the idea of like letting energy shield values be high, but really focusing on the recovery side of things and making that like you just said, like making things not homogenous, making things different. Like life's really easy to recover, but energy shield's much harder to recover. Like you still kind of...
That is still the intention, yes. That is still the intention.
I like that.
It's just really easy for all of a sudden some cool design to come out, and then all of a sudden it's just a completely trampled recharge.
Yes.
And then it's just like, well, now why do I care, And I mean, like, it's okay sometimes if it's like via an insanely, like, I mean, Essentia Sanguine is a perfect example of doing this, right? Like, it just straight up ES leech. And the thing is, like, I don't want to take that away. I just, there's a level of, there's some balance to do and or commonality to do. Like, if that's a thing you strive for and can eventually achieve, and now your character's like freaking god tier, that's exactly what like high-end unique items should do.
True.
So in this case, I know we're making that item rarer. Hopefully that doesn't affect the economy too much with some me giving that away. But on standard, sorry. But at the end of the day, I would rather do that than just gutting it. You know what I mean? In this case. But yes, those things are allowed to break the rule. But I very much want to push ES to be recharge based. And as I said, historically, it's again, you just come up with a bunch of uniques and want to do all this cool stuff. And all of a sudden, we've added in another way to completely not care about recharge, and you're getting ES back some other way. So, and that happened, and more and more and more of that came about. And all of a sudden now, you pretty much just got this insane life pool that's permanently full, and it's like, wow, why would you not do this? Obviously you'd do this. So
I imagine there's a lot of incomplete picture going on here as well, where you're still missing classes and archetypes and skills and parts of the passive tree and thing as well. It probably makes it hard to like commit too hard to certain areas of balance when it's such an incomplete picture.
Yes, and it's also just honestly a time issue. We're adding all this new stuff while having to also correct all the existing stuff, and then the new stuff is like, how fast can the new stuff break the existing stuff, and how fast can we then fix that? And it's you know.
At the same time, the
when I
game
say break,
is
I mean
now,
balance
right?
break.
This is
You
the
know, it's
game
to the
now.
point where
We
it's
are
like
playing
all these
this.
new variables are being
should
added as
be
we're trying
balanced
to
for what it is
fix
now,
all the existing
not for what's
variables and
coming in the
balance
future.
them. And these new variables are like, you know, it can be hard, like real difficult. When you're at
But
the
I do
point
get
where
it
you're
as
not
well.
adding
Like,
so
yeah,
much
but
new
it's
stuff,
both sides.
you can just catch up, get to a point of stability, and for sure it's there. But like we have expanded. Like I've got 3 new people. I don't know if new. I've kind of taken a few people that were more balance oriented out of our QA. I mean, some of our QA people are kind of elite. You know, I don't know if I should say who they are, but some of them are off, you know, top hardcore ladders and stuff. And I'm like, well,
Cool.
look, they do know what's going on. I'm like trying to teach them the philosophies and how to do all this stuff. And so I've got 3 new people doing that. So hopefully, and historically, we've had quite a limited number of people actually doing balance. It's quite hard. It's actually one of the harder things to have a good feel for. And if you put the wrong person in that position, who knows where you'll end up. So it's really important to make sure that obviously these people understand the philosophies and
I'm not
trained well, and
like,
you know, you're being cautious with it. But yeah, I got 3
I can't
new
even
people
make my
doing
own
that,
builds, so you know,
much larger team in the future. So I'm hoping we can tackle a lot more, and we're not just going to be up to like 1 or 2 of us. I mean, historically, it's been pretty much me and Andrew, and that's it.
So you've got your elite squad. You're building your elite squad of balanced ninjas now. To
pretty much, yeah. And
shield.
I mean, if we end up with like 5 of us, it's a very considering I also have to do the leagues and the end game and the monsters and the bosses and oversee all of that. It's pretty hard to also be able to find a lot of time to sit there with the spreadsheets and with the game and going, what does this build do? What can it do? So getting more people there is going to be a game changer for the future in terms of, you know, what we're able to actually balance, and we probably will be able to do a new class and keep the game up to date in a much better way and keep iterating on this, because we've got a lot more work to do. Like, I don't want people to ever think that we're just like going to stop with this stuff. I mean, PoE 1 hasn't stopped after forever, and often you want to keep metas fresh, you want to update, you want to make new, there's always you make bad things good things bad. Well, you know, bring them in. Not, you know, whatever.
You want to make good things bad.
good things bad, confirmed.
Not that. But you know, it's been a pretty tight resource the whole time, and having more of that is going to honestly be a game changer. So I'm very keen to see how that's going to play out, you know, especially over the next few expansions, and see where that goes and what it allows us to do, and have less of that picking our battles, and let's fight more battles, you know. That's fine, which should be cool.
Cool. On the gear power level side of things, plus to all skills has been talked about a lot, and even you guys have mentioned in the past, like it exacerbated things like mana issues that people were having. It's obviously very powerful and available in very high quantities. And I think it exacerbates other issues like uniques being less viable because they don't have them, for example. Right. And it does seem to be of a power level that's like overriding other aspects of gearing. Like it becomes kind of a make or break stat in many cases.
It is
with feeling
a bit
on the
much.
plus skills issue.
Well, the original theory behind it was that we wanted to make sure, like for fizz weapons, you always had this like IPD, you know, increased physical damage that was always kind of effectively mandatory stat on those weapons, and you know, it was something where like you would like you know, like you sort of had this baseline of like, you know, some kind of multiplicative way to make the weapon better, and effectively plus skills on staves and wands was supposed to kind of fill that sort of same multiplicative approach where like that was a thing that you, to make the difference between a bad spellcast weapon and a good one. That was kind of the idea, to kind of try and get that to so the items mattered more for spellcast weapons. But I think maybe like there's just kind of like we probably need to have to look at it. But I'm sure Mark, you've got more theories about it.
I mean, we need to change something.
Right.
100%. I mean, I know this, like, you know, we obviously have the illegal mod, the old Essence of Sorcery, giving that extra +1 to focus, the +3 to focus foci, and the old homogenizing for getting the +3s on amulets. By the way, they're gone.
I expected
goodbye
that one.
homogenizing.
I was ready for that one.
They were illegal for other reasons.
Don't know how people are going to feel about that. I'm not sure if I should look at the chat over there and see if it's a W or an L, but whatever, they're gone. It was adding an insane amount of complexity
Probably
to
a
crafting.
W, but the chat will say an L.
I particularly was
W's.
I particularly was like I actually don't like crafting mechanics that cause you to have to think about mods in the exact way that they needed you to think about them. So you know,
how do you mean?
Well, it's a bit tricky. I mean, it's like a whole other conversation probably.
Yeah.
But like they I don't think that that they were quite right for PoE 2. So yeah.
But anyway, that's kind of off the point.
yeah,
I just randomly just started talking about stuff
We'll talk more on the
It's real easy to just pivot to start listing nerfs and things you're removing for some reason. Sorry, but there is an issue. I understand it. I understand the whole. I have this perfect wand. But I've got triple T1 prefixes, but I don't have the gem level, so throw it on the floor, right? I mean, that's kind of generally it. It's like if it's missing that mod, it's trash, right? That's the bad feel. It's like I did everything right except for that, and it's terrible. And we were trying to create a thing where it was like similar to, well, like how do you itemize as a attacker?
Right.
And it was like, how can we have it be not just identical on a caster, but kind of have the same level of complexity of how to get
and in particular
power.
that still have the same level of an item actually matters, right? Because traditionally in PoE 1 you had this thing where if you didn't want to have to worry about itemization very much, then like spellcaster was the thing you could do. And we kind of did want to still try to like have it so that items do matter on spellcasters as well.
So why then does it seem like for a lot of people it doesn't work? Like, because IPD doesn't seem to attract ire.
Yeah, I don't fully understand that. I think the mana cost thing might be part of it for sure. The increase in the mana cost. But
I suspect at the end of the day it's because there are multiple ways to create an attack weapon that are good.
Right.
Even it's more than one way. A confizz weapon is not the only way.
Right.
Whereas a caster weapon doesn't really have that.
Right.
Like that might be it.
And that's it. It's just it's if you don't have that mod, bad. If you do have that mod, it's fine. And that's it. It doesn't matter what the rest is necessarily doing. There's not really much other choice.
Right.
And so that honestly can be enough where it's like you instead of reducing the plus gems, you could create many different options, and maybe it's still fine. Like plus gems is one way, or there's this way, or there's this way, and that way it's like, yeah, sure, there's more opportunities. But yeah, right now it's just either good or bad, very binary. And
it is quite hard to think of more multiplicative ways to improve spell damage, though. Like that was a real challenge when we were even looking into that. If I recall,
it's weird to me that like added damage on a caster gear isn't doing that more. Like maybe it's because like so much of that's already available in the game through other means or something. I don't know, like because that is effectively added flat damage in the same way that plus gems is.
Added flat damage on caster gear doesn't exist.
Extra damages, I should say.
Extra damages there. Yeah. Added damage we removed because you just ended up doing a damage effectiveness on then every single skill to the point where it ended up being...
I wasn't in love with damage effectiveness having to exist because I find it to be a bit confusing for people. Like I don't love that, and so I was kind of really hoping to avoid it. I did have this sort of feeling though back when we did that of this inevitable, like we're probably going to have to add it back again one day, and I'm not going to like that.
The issue that it poses.
It is a very useful tool, but yeah, I think it's just I think it kind of sucks as a thing. Personally, I'm just not a fan of it.
The damage is extra.
That's another take on that.
I mean, that's we've done. I was just thinking of another change we've done here. So obviously, I'm pivoting a little bit, but it's still talking about caster weapons.
Easier, right? Because it's magic. Related, you can just make shit up.
In 040, we are doing a change where, even though we're not changing the plus spell so much, we are making it so that you can't essence +3 spells on the foci, which I said before. Just to be clear, that is a change. But the other thing we're doing is we're taking it's the runic and glyphic equivalent of spell damage on foci and for all the different damage types, and just saying they can't generate on foci now. And I think we're in the end game, we're then increasing the base energy shields a little bit. It doesn't. I know people, oh my god, you're making energy shield better. Don't worry, it makes like no real difference overall with the other changes in mind. But the idea is being that a wand and a foci should be slightly more defensively enhanced, not offensive compared to a staff. And so one thing we've done is we said all staff prefixes. So that's the damage is fire, the element damage is the types. It's the just increased specific damage, increased spell damage. What is it? Mana. I don't remember what else. The prefixes. Those are all now double wands as opposed to, I think it was 50 to 55% higher than wands, give or take. So if you want... Like it just adds more reason to want to use a staff. So the staff prefixes are double wands, whereas a wand plus foci is not giving you. Well, it was pretty much giving you more damage. I actually think it was than a staff would have been able to.
Definitely not.
So
right.
at least now staffs are going to be better,
Right.
but that isn't anything to do with the gem level problem. It's still obviously its own problem, But it's again just talking about a little bit of the like overall improvements to just like finding different types of gear where it's like, well, why do I want the staff when I can have a wand and a
I mean, you
focus
actually
every
made a
time?
ton of changes to just weapons, like generally, right? Like in terms of the progressions and stuff, especially through the campaign.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when we were adding the talismans for the druid, we were like, what do we want all the in-game base types to be? What do we want the damage in the campaign? And what we then started looking into was a lot of the other weapons going, well, what were they doing? And then I was looking at things going, well, this doesn't seem right here, and this doesn't seem right there. And you get these weird things which people probably don't honestly appreciate, maybe, where it's like you're upgrading your weapon, so you're going from like random examples. I don't know. I don't actually know if this is true. I'm just going to hypothetically. It's like you go from two-handed mace to 3 to two-handed mace 4. You're going along the, I don't know what the actual names are. And then all of a sudden, like two-handed mace 5, it's got some implicit on it, and it's like, oh, that's interesting. But the damage is actually, the base DPS of that weapon is actually lower than the one before it. That was like 6 levels lower. And you're like, I don't know if that damage is worth the trade-off of the implicit. And so
Definitely it isn't worth it.
it isn't, yes. The valuation of the implicit's damage penalty was mismatched in a lot of spots. And so you get these things where every third weapon in the campaign is just like a random DPS drop. And so we're changing all of that as much as we can, at least.
That's nice.
The thing is, you might not even necessarily recognize this as a player because generally speaking, you just like, you see a weapon that dropped and you're like, okay, what's the DPS of this compared to another one? You're not necessarily thinking about the fact that there's a new upgraded weapon type or that's like, or that should have been higher. So what it ends up being is there's just a whole of like 20 levels go by where it's like, I can't get a weapon upgrade and it's frustrating. And that's what it actually feels like when you actually play it. But in reality, what it was is that the weapon type that was supposed to be an upgrade is actually a downgrade. That's something that Mark immediately saw and he was like, okay, we need to
we're
do
doing a
something
little
about
bit more. I don't know if we're going to get through all the weapons, but we're
Right,
trying. Whereas like you get to end game and it's like, okay, what's your fast weapon? What's your crit weapon? What's your just standard good weapon? And then here's implicit A, implicit B, implicit C, and then it's like, which one's your bonk weapon? Like, which one am I just going to bonk things with the slow, heavy hitter? And trying to just do a lot more of that and make sure there's all the in-game choices for all of these weapons, bunch of different cool implicits, changing some of them around, just reevaluating the damage of them all, just the base deep. So generally speaking, pretty much all of them going up across the board in little ways. Like, they're not nothing make or break, but like, it's enough of a thing that as you go through the campaign, you're not just like, where the heck are my upgrades?
Yeah, it'll feel better during the campaign.
And also at the end game, just increasing a bit of the choices of different base weapons you could use for different builds and whatnot. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things that, it's easy to go a little bit underappreciated, but it matters, like in changing the staffs and all of that stuff. It does, contribute to the overall picture of just things feeling good. And, it's another one of these things where it's like, yeah, we just in the process of adding the druid weapons, we were like, well, let's go do the rest of this right as well while we're at it. So yeah, we've still got a bit more to do there, but I don't know if that will come in this week to come and or
just muscle hurts
afterwards
when I
or
do
something
that
like
sometimes.
That. But,
I don't know
we're just going
why.
to try and do as much as we can. So even if not all the weapon types are in the patch notes, it isn't to say we aren't going to do the rest of them before the end of next week, because it doesn't take too long to do them. But at the same time, you don't want to rush it and mess it up. So yeah, I don't know, just a random thing.
I think people are increasingly souring on rarity and gear, especially now that it affects currency drops, and which makes it feel very mandatory, right? Because like, what do we play for? Currency, obviously.
Well, don't you worry. We've had our every 3 months discussion of talking about rarity and what we're going to do with it.
I think we did it again, didn't we?
We did a little bit. We cut off some of the top tier mods, so just the overall amount of it is lower. It's a stopgap. I don't quite know. We haven't come to an exact decision, but like, it is true that it feels like every change we're making at this point is getting slightly closer to just it despawning.
Keep having those meetings then.
I will get rid of it eventually. It's just that we need to find we need to find the mods that can replace them in the mod pools that like in order to make it work. And it's like, this is the annoying thing. It's like if we just removed it right now, there just wouldn't be enough of a mod. Like the mod pools wouldn't work.
There is an interesting thing we see where and I don't like for sure it is
Oh, I heard a cat
understandable,
again,
but we
but-
see a lot of videos being made.
Oh, I do
with
hear a cat.
just absolute 1000%
I think he's,
misunderstandings
like,
of how it all
upstairs.
works. And which probably isn't helping its cause in any way,
Right.
because it
upstairs
has
or
all these
downstairs
hidden
now.
DR things and just a bunch of hidden mechanics in it. But yeah, there's certainly a mass amount of misunderstanding as to how it works, and people going, look, it does exactly this change, and it's like
There he
it's
is.
not even doing 1/10 of what you're saying it's doing. That being said, I'm not saying it's not a problem. It is 100% a problem, but there is certainly a mass misunderstanding with, again, because we don't even explain it anywhere. It's just this hidden, there's some formula somewhere, that no one has access to except for us.
And you've always been a bit secretive on drop related stuff in particular, and like, you guys kind of happy to keep it that way for that one, or is it something you're like, misinformation?
We wanted to make it clear. We wanted. Okay. We were like, why don't we just get rid of the DR and find a way to make it work and actually display the actual value? But that is at conflict of removing it. So, there's a little bit of like, we just got to pick our direction here. And
It's inherently unclear even to us in some sense. Like, you can't say like the number of the like. What? Okay, but that sounds a bit weird. But what I mean by that is like, it's not like that when you get that it just increases currency. Like it's through like 10 layers of like different ways things work that kind of result in an overall amount, like overall in currency increasing.
You mean like the content people are playing and stuff? Or?
Well, not just that, but even in terms of just the way the system works, right? Like, it's a very indirect method by which currency is increased. It isn't just that we drop. It's not just like there's some code somewhere where it's like increase currency by this amount. Like, it is actually like it is a result of multiple systems on top of each other working to result in that. And that's why, like, the only way for us to even know like what it even does is by simulating actual drops from actual monsters in order to work out what it actually did. So yeah, it's like sort of, yeah, I understand that might seem strange, but it's because like the drops are complicated, and there's like so many things we've done over the years to kind of like massage them in various ways, and it's like it becomes quite unclear at some point, even like what the relationship between one
drops
number and
and
another
like
can even
rarity.
so
quantity
yeah.
on
I think the
gear, stuff
takeaway
like that.
is Jonathan said he's removing it.
I want to get rid of it. We just need to find a thing to replace it within the mod pool.
I'm like,
And that's very, very
it's okay.
difficult.
I don't need to understand it.
It's
then.
exactly the same conversation if we bring up what Dex gives as a yeah. It's like it's 100% the same type of problem.
So what should give? What should Dex
Jesus,
give?
yeah.
Dex give rarity.
Yeah, exactly.
Dex
Yeah.
scales currency drops.
Yeah, exactly.
There are several layers of
And
abstraction.
gold find if you're a wyvern.
I only fear wyvern.
Yeah, just for dragons.
Makes sense. No. Okay.
Fantastic.
On the topic of balance for damage types and damage scaling, lightning damage seems like a clear-cut winner at the moment overall. Just in terms of doing more raw damage, having access to shock, and even having its own kind of version of stun through electrocute, and I guess separate problems with, like, for example, fire and ignite. Where are you guys at with like the balance between the elements and lightning damage
I'm not going to
overall?
say that they're now equal, but like a few things. So I mean, I know there was like a 15% more max damage notable. That's now 10. We've done, I think, all of the skills that had multiplicative shock effect are now increased, so they stack additively with the tree. So, it's honestly just like a whole bunch of different little things.
I think he wants to go to bed.
Lightning rods are
Or he wants
nerfed at
treats,
endgame just while we're here. Don't worry, lots of things are buffed that aren't
Tons of things
that
are buffed.
aren't lightning builds necessarily.
Nice.
But no, some are as well. But yeah, it's. I don't want to just make it about let's gut lightning. I want to make it be like, well, let's make these other things feel cooler and more special. So it would be very easy to just go and gut lightning across the board. But that just seems like an overall net loss of fun. I'd much rather, find ways to incentivize the others as opposed to just take away the thing that currently is,
Chases
kind
his
of enjoyable.
shadow.
So again, it's more important to not just nerf. Oh, now they're equal. So yeah, I won't say we're there yet, but the problem is obvious, so at least it's not.
And you don't really want things to be like the same power level ultimately. Like, it seems like one of them should be more damage, and one of them has like more utility, like cold with freeze and chill.
Well, for sure. Like cold is
But ultimately, people aren't going to accept if one element has more clear speed than another. So, like, while it may not be damaged directly, it is in some indirect way it needs to translate to damage on some level.
I mean,
because, you need to, it needs to, or rather, it needs to indirectly translate into clear speed in some manner, right? So that's
unless you're making the monsters 40% stronger.
Well,
and
but that's what I mean, right? Because
and then you're freezing them.
Yeah, I mean, because we're doing that, it means that it ultimately means that the higher damage, smaller AOE, like not having to actually rely on arcing all the time to be able to get the massive AOE can kind of like make a difference. So even just that change alone can shift the meta like a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like fair amount of changes to like the passive tree scaling for lightning and stuff like that.
Yeah, shock. I mean, shock is pretty hectic.
Yep.
Like, kind of, you have this thing where it's like, okay, well, let's say even cold. Obviously, you can freeze more often, but then often the boss is sitting or the monsters are sitting in there. Then, poise timer before they can be CC'd again. You don't have any real control over that.
Cat jump scare.
And chill.
Started attacking
chill has a
the,
maximum magnitude of 50.
Cabinet.
So
that might,
you can't really scale. So like
that
already
my
alone,
desk leans
you
on,
can
or rests
5x
on.
the power of a shock, because I think the cap is 100. And in some cases, Stormweaver even go further than that. Whereas you can't exactly be doubling the power of a chill necessarily, and so on. So there's like, even just that as a random thing. Like Ignite doesn't have enough love right now for sure.
Yep.
So even if it was meant to be those three ailments are a point of comparison, I mean, Shock is kind of a little bit crazy right now compared to what the others are capable of doing. Not to say Chill isn't strong, not to say Freeze isn't also obviously powerful. They will have their time, and they may have already had their I mean, we had freaking cast on Comet on crit for a while there and all of that as well. So, it will always change, but yeah, I mean, just bringing some of the Shock back and some of the other just little outliers here and there was a first step in the direction. But it's very important not to just do I hate lightning, goodbye lightning. It's like, be easy to do. It's the wrong thing to do, for sure. So.
Yeah, people also like playing lightning. I think it's just,
exactly.
I think it's just the feeling when they like playing their cold builds and like it's better to convert to lightning.
He's right off frame. Of course he is.
You kind of mentioned, you touched on the fact that you feel like Ignite needs some love. I feel like with damaging elements, there's a fundamental thing maybe that's causing problems where it's scaling with like hit damage and crit so directly, I guess, in this case, differently to how it's been done in the past, where it leads to maybe, in addition to it being a bit weaker, feeling like just kind of an add-on, like Ignite's not really a thing. I don't really have a pure Ignite build. Ignite's just like a bonus added kind of damage on top.
Yeah, it's a bit flat, honestly. I agree. We've had heaps of discussions here about all kinds of different options. We had some boil down to whether or not we're going to do keystones. We want to do something. We just haven't landed on exactly what we want it to be and how, whether or not it's like we change the base versus change it through, again, a keystone or something you spec into. But yeah, it is a bit flat, and it doesn't have enough. It is, as you said. It's just, here's a bit more DPS, I guess, at the end of the day. And then even there's limited ways of kind of scaling it, and I'm not going to say there's none. There are some, but it's not enough. It's I mean, overall, I say it just hasn't got enough love. So, but we want to.
Backtracking a little bit on the
Cats,
gearing,
I swear to God.
touched on crafting a little bit, and so I love 0-3 crafting. Like, it was such a huge change from like a game that some would joke didn't have crafting.
I am getting tired. That's why I'm not
some
talking
of the
much.
Most powerful and interesting crafting we've had ever in Path of Exile. I think it's right up there. 0-3 crafting was amazing. Like the combination of the core currency changes, the changes to essences was really good. And how these things interplay with some of the omens and the abyss crafting even.
E-basket.
So like, definitely felt like some things were a bit illegal, and just the overall like how good it was. Like, I don't know, like, oh no, I feel like this is illegal. So what of that was illegal or is illegal or is being?
Well, you said essences. So we talked about essence of sorcery.
It's not like we're gutting anything like that, right? There's just a few illegal things.
It's a few.
Are you pretty you like overall like where it ended up?
I think it's way better than it was before.
Yeah,
100%.
Great.
Yeah.
It's what I found playing, and obviously, and collating a little bit of data, but it's the kind of thing where I don't have enough data to go and or enough feedback to go and make some sweeping change. Is that people find that getting the it's too easy now to get to the absolute upper echelons of gear. Is what I kind of honestly, and I assumed that there'd be a bit of a public civil war about me saying that, because I could see people going, no, that I love it that way, and a bunch of people going like, well, I'm completing my characters way too fast, right? I got nowhere to go. I got no, I want to play for longer, and I have nothing to spend my time doing. Like, it's done, my character's finished. And I could see people being very binary on that for sure. But then it's like, how much of that just comes down to homogenizing, for example, and a few different axes like that.
I think a fair amount.
And but yeah, I know there's other problems, like for example, because of the high tier currency, there's a little bit of like you don't even need to pick up tier 5 rares anymore, because what you actually want is a base type to craft from. And so in some ways it's wrong in that regard, for sure. Like, if people feel that way, that's probably not good. Yeah, and then there was some other things with the essences that went wrong. Like, for example, the essence of haste, being able to craft melee tiers of attack speed onto bows. It's not alright, right? That's better than what a bow can even yield. So, like, now a dropped bow can never be the best thing in the game, because there's an essence that can grant high value. That's not intentional. Like, the essences should be good, but they shouldn't be giving illegal mods, as we keep saying. So, yeah, it's a bit of that, but I would hate to... I want to see how it goes, but I definitely... feel the thing that like definitely hit me the most that I want to get more feedback on is the people just going, it's not there's no point in picking up T5 rares eventually, because I would rather just craft from a white base and I can more guarantee that it's going to be good, and so what's the point? But yeah, there's a bit of that, and so, but again, it's very important with these kinds of things not to just like, that's obviously right, let's just change everything, and now item gearing is just ruined, because you could very easily undo with a lot of the good that 030's crafting added. So yeah, fine-tooth comb, being very careful with it, for sure.
So it sounds like definitely getting rid of a few specific things. Like, Omen of Homogenization was a pretty clear one. I think that was like seemed hyper illegal, as well as like some of the specific essences. Like the tiered currencies, you feel like you're pretty happy with that overall?
I think overall I like them, yeah.
Okay, cool. And like the essence changes in general?
Yeah, for sure.
And what about Abyss crafting now that that's going core? Is that like changing a lot? Because that, I think, played a pretty important role in giving you some interesting decision making in crafting.
It's not changing very much aside from the removal of Waystone crafting from it.
Yeah,
sure, there'll be a few number changes around.
Yeah, just little bits here and there. Yeah. Well, I mean, inherently we have to, because we buffed staff prefixes, we have to go and look at everywhere that adds equivalent mods and make sure those are increased as well. And so, like, either way, there's some overflow effects that just kind of happen due to balance changes all over the place. But nothing, like, no significant change to that at this point, for sure. But it's still there. When you're playing through, even though it's core, when you're playing through the campaign, much like you get the world map icons, or it's like, oh, this thing's here. We've got a bunch of areas where there are abysses.
A few.
I think it's 6. And each give, throughout the entire campaign, each will give a crafting thing. So you have at least 6 guaranteed campaign crafts.
Oh, great. Awesome.
That's nice.
If you explore and do the areas, and you can see it on your world map if you've done it or not. And so you're giving you a bit of that throughout. So we don't lose that the league had. And then... in-game, sure, use your tablets and then start running it, and
awesome.
If you want to get the crafting, yeah.
Well, I'm amped to hear that, like, overall it seems to be fairly intact then, because I was definitely a huge fan of like the direction crafting's taking there. So, and I'm excited to see it getting built upon with like the Sacrifice of the Vile stuff too. Well, the new Vile stuff. Excellent news. Alongside that, we had the addition of asynchronous trade, and both things obviously very powerful for gear acquisition, raising both like the kind of floor of like what's considered your like baseline gear. What's your 1 exalt gear basically goes up a lot, but also like getting it more accessible to get to, like to craft or to obtain the really high end gear. How much of an effect have you seen in terms of like players kind of making the game easier? Like, has the game gotten a lot easier overall for people? Are people like reaching their final product earlier?
It's really hard to tell how much of it is the trade system and how much of it is the crafting changes. Like, it's actually really quite hard to disentangle.
So what about as an overall picture?
Yeah, I mean, look, but at the end of the day, it's like the crafting system the trading system as it is something people just need to have. So, like, we just have to, work within that.
Yes, if they took it away now, there would be.
I'll tell you, like, if we have a in-game itemization problem, we're not going to go and say we need to nerf trading.
Right.
We're past that.
Yeah.
We're finally, we can put that in our review mirror. Excellent. Yeah, so the question is, like, I guess now more just adapting over to that. I'm just curious, like, as to how extreme it has been, because it seems like it would be absolutely massive, like crazy. But
it's honestly quite hard to tell, as I said, due to the other changes.
I guess it's like a longer period thing to analyze.
But then at the end of the day as well, you could say that if this is a feature we need to have, then it doesn't necessarily matter. Like, we just need to work with it and just deal with it. So
I know in the past there was a fear, and this kind of touches on crafting a lot, where if people could craft like really good gear super easily, that they would stop playing. Like the player retention would go down. I feel like in some cases we've seen some of the opposite phenomena. Like there is, to an extent, the opposite phenomena where like people gain access to the builds they want to play. They gain access to content they might not have otherwise in a more reasonable time frame for them. So their engagement and the amount of time they play ends up going up as a result. Like in a surprising twist.
That definitely can happen. But at the end of the day, like retention isn't exactly the reason why we do it. It's because we sort of feel like, if we did want to make getting the hardest gear harder, then the reason we would be doing it is because we don't like the feeling that you can get of like, I don't have anything else to get. You know what I mean? Like that would be the reason to do it, not necessarily because of retention reasons. You know what I mean? Like it's more about the play experience, to be honest. Because when it comes right down to it, like our model has always been, we want to keep you coming back every league. Like we don't necessarily care how long you play a given league for. We just want to make sure that each time you play a league, you're enjoying your experience, that you want to come back and play the next one. So that's kind of our philosophy on that. So retention isn't directly a thing that we're like optimizing for exactly in that way.
Players hyper fixate on that.
Yeah, it's more about retention from league to league. Like what are we doing? Like how many
this is a shout out to the posts on Reddit over the last couple of weeks of the retention of the PoE 1 league.
I mean, it's not like it doesn't matter either, right? Because you can on some level judge the success of how much people liked a league based on that.
Yeah, it can tell you how much fun people are.
Like at the end of the day, what people are saying about what they thought about it is actually more important than the number of people actually playing it, because like that, as long as they're like happy and they want to come back, then we're happy.
If you have more fun in a smaller amount of time and then you're more happy to come back next league, then that's a win.
That isn't necessarily a problem, right?
You may have played less this league, but maybe...
So they're kind of a little bit unrelated in some ways, but also sort of related in others,
Okay, well, it'd be interesting to see how this continues to play out then, the crafting, trading thing. I'm super interested in like the economic aspects of that.
Right.
But it's definitely had a big impact, and on the whole, like 0.3 felt like a huge net positive for both crafting and trading.
Agreed.
So good. So good.
Agreed.
All right, well, we'll keep. I'll ask about that like everything. I think 'cause it's like where do you guys feel it's at now? Yeah. What about now? Can we scroll to the end? Thanks. There we go. So we had just a couple of random questions. I do see one in chat, but it's not really a question. People just typing move speed, but I don't really actually know what the context for that is. You guys know?
It's the speed at which you move.
Very insightful. Thank you. Maybe you guys could type an actual question in chat. I'm just saying instead of just chanting. But
adjacent to that, one change we have made, which is kind of interesting, and I think it's a kind of because I don't know if the general desire is more or less of it. I suspect you'll find a bit of both. But irrelevant of that, like a change we made is there's lots of in-game runes where you can now only use one of them. And it's quite interesting because obviously before it was like get the double socketable effect on boots, put all the removable speed runes in, and it's well, great, now you got... And, it was kind of interesting, but it also meant that generally what was happening is every single slot was just stacked with the same rune type. So now you're getting this like kind of nice mixture of different runes being used and different things, and it's kind of enhancing that. But yes, it overall makes the amount of movement speed you're getting from boots lower at the end game. But those were like very, very, very expensive. So which is kind of cool. What else is
will help that
really changed kind of like a rehashing of the old discussions of like the mandatory move speed on boots versus like implicits and things like that. I've always been a big fan of like a little bit of implicit movement speed on boots as you go up or something like that. But I know you guys are happy with like having move speed be an important stat on boots. Like, I guess, and maybe some people just want more move speed, but
I mean, some people always will.
That's a thing, yeah.
There's probably some people that want to move
faster. Yeah.
It's just less. I think there's some people who might want to have a less mandatoriness to have to move so fast as well, to some degree. But
I've been more on that side of things. Like, maybe make some of the maps a little smaller, so move speed's less important. I feel. We don't like mandatory mod items on. It was that topic. Okay, cool. Okay. Thanks, team. Just confirming that. Yeah, I feel like that's been discussed fairly well at this point. Yeah,
we're at the same stance on that, really. Which is it's interesting because technically, if we end up
I do like the implicit on move speed, but then giving you the option to like
have to reevaluate why
add explicit move speed to get even faster.
An interesting thing where one discussion might yield the other because
maybe through maybe that is the only way to get extra move speed.
And we might end up who knows what side of the fence we're going to land on. You know what I mean? So.
I've seen Acolyte of Chayula get mentioned a lot. I have not played that class, so I can't speak to it too closely. But is that
we've done number buffs at the very least, yes. Yeah, okay. I think almost every ascendancy class has some level. Like honestly, some of it is like one node changed. Some of it, like for example, Pathfinder's got 2 whole new notables, and like we got rid. I mean, Pathfinder just did that. We got rid of the poison spreading notable because it's pretty much Herald of Plague. And we just put the 4-pointer to the 2-pointer, so you get the actual more powerful spike one for cheaper. We got rid of that like multi-choice ailment mitigation, and we were like, wow, it's the Pathfinder, so let's do some cool passive tree stuff. So pulling some inspiration from the PoE 1 Scion, the Pathfinder can now also allocate passives from either the Witch or the Warrior start points, for just like, doing some crazy builds. And I think there's even a new notable on there where normally you have your highway nodes and it's like 5 dex and strength. There's also now 3 other options for the Pathfinder can take that node, and now there's 6 choices you can do on your travel nodes. So it's like, I don't want as much attributes. I'll get instead damage. I think it's damage defenses and like cost efficiency or something. So you can kind of like better balance how much damage you want, defenses you want, or reduce. So it's like another kind of cool, interesting thing. So yeah, I mean, that's a class where it's gotten a bit more changes.
That sounds
is numerical for
very
now.
Strong.
But again, we want to do something grander with Chaos. It's on
There's quite a lot of just monk generally improvements as well, just balance wise, right?
Like,
yeah, I mean, at this point, every class is
the
kind
Pathfinder
of
in general sounds strong now.
I think the patch notes currently lacks. We have a thing where we're doing a bunch of changes to specific monsters for being spected.
Okay.
Like when we actually looked at it, we're like, look, if we just increase Spectre overall, it's going to increase the specific Spectres. Like we want to increase the amount of the pool of viable monsters for different cases. Yeah. So here's the thing. Now it takes it from a skills balance team into the kind of monster balance team situation, and like such a different resource. So we're going to start doing that process where we try and do like, 5 to 10 from here and here and here and here per patch, and kind of just start trying to get them to be more viable. And specifically as specters, and honestly you'll find most of the time it's just changing the cooldowns and changing the AI to be like, not because normally they're just like, I have to care about a player and maybe some minions are there, but honestly sometimes they just don't even care about the minions. They're just like, nah, there's a player, right? They assume there's a player because generally speaking there is. And so now when they make a specter version, there's no player for them to target. There's only monsters, and so they might be just making some silly decisions about how they're targeting and when they're using their skills and stuff like that. So want to do a bunch of that, but those won't be in the patch notes because the intention's that we're still doing them. I don't want to release a half-baked set of patch notes for that. The other thing is I think we're still doing, I've held back from the patch notes, I've held back a bunch of the minion occult, specifically a bunch of changes around command skills and stuff like that, just because I want to just do a little bit more iteration before we release that. Couple of Ice Ranger changes. I think that's like a massive improvement to the Ice Ranger kind of play. I mean, using the existing skills, a lot of numerics, a lot of changes to ice fragments, stuff like that. What else is not in there? There's a few other bits and pieces not in the patch notes, and that's because all of our stuff is, and that's just not to say there's nothing changed. I've just taken them out for now because I want to make sure they're right. Otherwise, we have to give some false information and then change it, and it's not great.
You've been updating the patch notes over the course of a week now, so people should still probably expect that.
Yeah, for sure.
Initial patch notes coming.
I know they were like. I mean, I think we ended up changing something like 80 different unique items or something like that.
Sick.
Again, mostly focusing on endgame ones, boss ones, mythic ones, working our way down the rarity. So like more of the ones that are meant to be higher value and meant to be higher effort. We've demoted some to be more common. We've promoted some to be rarer, stuff like that, and done a whole pass. But even then, like I know last night we were like, oh, there's like kind of 5 or 6 here that we're like maybe on the fence about. Let's, to be safe, pull them out, discuss them, reevaluate them, and then pull them back in the patch notes afterwards. Just to be safe, because again, I don't want to mislead.
I saw a question about that from our resident summoner expert in chat. But the monster changes, like for making specific changes to monsters for specters, does that end up in patch notes? That seems like pretty hard to track.
It will this time. Nice. Well, I don't think we've done much in the way of actual specific monster changes this time around, but this, what I was talking about doing, will, yes.
Okay.
It just what I'm saying is it won't be in the initial set of patch notes because we haven't finished them yet. So, but they will be, like, I think the patch note says will be in a post later this week, or later, in the week coming. So
a funny one in chat I see is like, when can we get more melee variety? I'm like, you guys literally just added like a new melee weapon. Like, I don't know if you guys know, but the talisman's a melee weapon.
No, melee is never right in any game ever. No, I mean, because it's kind of true, right? Like,
it's quite, there's a funny phenomenon right now where it's like, whenever we talk about melee, people say that like there's literally only maces in the game, and it's like quarterstaves are over in the corner crying. It's like no one pays any attention to it.
Yeah, but
it's like doesn't count as well.
But it's
like a half ranged weapon. I guess.
Stormwave really melee, then you get that.
There's always this funny exception with it, but like ultimately, I think what it comes down to is that the game doesn't have swords.
Yes,
yet.
I know.
Is that,
and I know we need swords. Yeah, I get it.
We need swords.
We need swords.
So swords are
funny.
From talking to you, it sounds like swords. Swords are getting added to the game at some point.
At some point, we will have swords. I can promise you that.
Yes, it's the importance is understood. It seems it's a bit too fundamental, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Swords are a bit cool.
But yeah, I mean, we were talking about the ascendancy. So yes, a lot of numerics, some more broader changes. Some getting a little bit, some getting a lot. Like just because it's getting a little bit doesn't mean we think it's in the right spot. At the end of the day, we've just started going. Like Smith and Katava got a decent amount of changes.
Nice.
Kind of a lot better now for sure. We'd like over nerfed it. But yeah, lots of like around the. I mean, honestly, like I want to say 90% of all the balance changes are probably in the direction of taking underplayed and underpowerful things and making them a bit better.
Nice.
That isn't to say that we've successfully made, like maybe at the end of the day, lightning archers are still somehow better than ice archers at the end game. But certainly the gap is narrowed and you'll feel less bad for playing one over the other, and less bad about decisions. And so that's ultimately the goal, and we'll get there eventually. But
maybe still bad.
Huge step in the right direction, I'd say. But yeah, and then things like Outer Louis, all those outliers on the top end, those are coming down a bit for sure. Sometimes more than a bit, depending how extreme they were. Culmination's another one where like just having an uncapped combo thing when you get damage per combo. I mean, and then obviously you can just one-shot everything in the game at that point. So that's a problem as well. Some of these outliers 100% brought into place given caps, whatever the case is. But again, more like 95% of all the changes that we're trying to make is bringing up the underplayed things to be a bit better. And just to all kinds of varying degrees. It's really hard to. It's like, do you just do everything across the board and try and look at everything and give everything a minute, or do you really hone in on one build? And right at this point, we're trying to do a very widespread. Let's look at literally every skill and go, is there a decision we can? What would we do? And it's like, it would require this huge rework. Okay, instead of waiting for that, can we just do some numbers for now? Do the rework later to really give it what it truly should be. If so, let's do that, and then bench that thing for a later time when we have more time, and then move to the next, do the same assessment, and then we just try to do that for literally everything.
The Balanced Ninja Squad is currently focusing on clear speed, it sounds like.
Yes, but for things that are not already, up
nice.
at the top tier, generally.
Right. We're getting quite close to patch notes, so we'll rapid fire some things off here. it seemed like at one point like druids were going to have claws as their weapons, so that has obviously changed to talismans. Or
That might have
they
been
were
a
like
case a long
That
time
was
ago.
actually that was actually for the
something.
huntress.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, weird. Yeah, so it sounds like claws are probably not going to be a thing then.
Probably
With, like,
not anytime soon. No.
Decided not less interesting than
Yeah,
other
yeah.
options. Yeah, all right, cool. Hot swapping between controller and mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, something I promise every single time.
So it's,
And yet somehow we still haven't done it yet. So what I can say is that it is actually, we have an implementation of it. We're not shipping it this time. But it's much more close than it was last time. Like, there's just some stuff that needs to happen. But, like, it is a thing that has been seen on a programmer's workstation as to work. But, yeah, there's still a bit more to do. But, yeah, like, next time, I know I've said this twice before, but next time, we will definitely have that. I know it's like, it's a weirdly huger feature than it seems because, like, the code was just originally not written with that in mind at all. And, yeah, it's just requiring a lot of re-engineering of a whole bunch of existing UI to be able to get it to work.
looking forward to it, so I can
Yeah, I know.
actually do inventory management.
I know.
Controller.
We will have it, but yeah.
Controller inventory. Oof.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah.
Okay, good news. It's being worked on daily, it sounds like. Do you have like a rough timeline for full release, or not ready to announce that yet?
Don't really have it to announce, but I mean, look, I certainly don't want it to be 2027. Like, I really want it to be next year. Like, I really do. So, like, it'll be, I really want it to be next year. But
We certainly underestimated the amount of work we wanted to. It's certainly by having
They say
your
that.
leagues constantly and all that. And I know some people are like, just don't like,
you need to do.
we want people to play the game
I
still and
don't
enjoy it,
know.
do what we want to do. But so yeah, you get this thing where we severely underestimated how much extra time it would add.
Your rule of cool of like we want to do the 130 extra passives because it's cool. I mean that has an expense.
Yes, all of this does get in the way technically, but.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, we're not going to release until everyone's happy.
Worthwhile.
So
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
so
true.
that's what needs to happen first. So
It's a good trade-off.
Yeah.
With the performance improvements, which looked like really impressive, even more than the 25% you were saying, like looking at the side-by-side footage was like, it looks even better than that.
Yeah, I mean, look, we did 25. I said 25% as a commitment because, like, that's kind of like I want to make sure, like, look, people are really sensitive to the stuff, so like, I wanted to make sure that we're not over-promising.
Under-promise.
And so under-promise and over-deliver was the plan, but effectively, like, I've been focusing on a lot myself actually, trying to like make sure that it's getting better. Effectively, what we've done is, I mean, obviously, there's just sort of traditional optimization that happens, but a lot of it is just effectively making sure we're multi-threading things better, taking advantage of more CPU cores. If you're GPU bound and you don't have dynamic resolution turned on, then it obviously won't affect you because you're GPU bound. If you've got dynamic resolution on, so like GPU is not so much of a concern, then CPU was definitely a problem for just about everyone. Like even really fast CPUs were having issues in in-game mapping. So the goal really was to make it so that, like when you've got a lot of shit going on, that your CPU is not overloaded. We did that by multi-threading things much better than we were before. Traditional optimization, just lots of improvements there. Like now... there's so many things that are working better than they were before. Like in many cases, honestly, you see double frame rate, like just straight up.
Awesome.
But as I said, like not consistently in all cases. So and
That's interesting. That's certainly interesting.
Improvement. They
keen to
consoles
check
just have
out,
weaker
like, if
CPUs
it's
than PCs
noticeable.
do. So therefore, when you're doing CPU optimization, consoles are what's going to benefit from that. It's just a lot better. Now, one of the things I'm a bit worried about is that by multi-threading more things, you can run into multi-threading bugs. And so there might be, hopefully not, but there might be some more crashing going on when we first launched, just because, like, like the thing with multi-threading is that, like, depending on the exact scenario, different things can happen at different times, can cause some issues. I'm really hoping we don't run into that. We're trying to do as much testing as we can to fix all those kinds of issues.
Odds are, though.
That would be the worry. But yeah, I think that it was definitely
Wouldn't be the
worth
first
taking
time
the
I-
plunge and doing that stuff.
I
because
had
it is
issues
way
with
better.
PoE launches.
I probably should make
Usually
a video on
PoE 1 I'm
exactly,
pretty good, but
like,
PoE
some of
2
the-
is
like, go
been
into
not
a deep dive
great
into
for
it at
me.
some point because it's kind of interesting.
I know
And
there's a
even
lot of
it
detail there
feels
for you.
like even still, occasionally you guys are still just finding
ridiculous
things that like, oh, we just made it a whole nother chunk faster.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
exactly.
just because of some just ancient thing. It's just,
It's we definitely still find some crazy stuff, and like it's going to be a lot better.
I expect it's not even. It's just going to keep going as well.
Yeah,
for
no,
like a
exactly.
while.
So we're that's the other thing is like I want to spend even more time on getting this exactly right. We're not even at the point like when I'm looking at it now, I'm like we could still theoretically make this quite a bit faster than it even still is.
You've been personally like really on this every time.
I have. just because it's been such a big issue, and you know, like I wanted to actually get back in there and spend a bit of time on it. And yeah, as I said, like already it's so much better now. But yeah, we'll be even better than that.
Awesome, fantastic. It's great news.
Cool.
Patch notes are here.
All
So
right.
we will end there and let
no
people
one's
go
interested
and
in listening to us
read
anymore.
the
They've
patch notes.
got
Right, everybody's gone. Thank you very much, guys. It was a pleasure to talk to you once again, and I look forward to checking it out and going and playing it some more.
Excellent.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Alrighty, thanks for the questions, everyone. We'll
Thanks,
see you next
everyone.
time. Thanks for watching.
Bye,
I'll just
bye,
look at
guys.
you.
Look forward to
Right.
Like Jonathan said, all right, that was the PoE 2 reveal.
Hi,
Let me.
I'm Jonathan Rogers, game director on Path of Exile.
I'm just gonna mute that and put that in the background and put some music on. Let me mute that though, because that's gonna sound double. Yes, so Path of Exile 2, Clash of the Druids, and the what was it, of the Val? Something of the Val. And it was definitely a reveal. I really like the story stuff. I'm glad they're doing story stuff in the league. That's fucking fantastic. That is amazing. I love that 2-segment approach. I hope they do more of that. That was really cool. Also, the Druid looks fantastic in terms of like the wolf and the dragon. Hello, we can play a dragon? Fuck yes. There's some cool elemental stuff in there. I really like the puzzle, or the building your own temple rework that they did. Looks really neat. I think, generally speaking, yes, this was a smaller reveal than... I wouldn't necessarily what we're used to. I wouldn't necessarily say that, but it is a smaller reveal than a lot of other reveals we've had for PoE 2, and PoE 1 for that matter. So this wasn't as much as we usually get, but like they said, they had to postpone the endgame thing to what is it, 04? Oh no, 05. Oh yeah, 050, because it's 040. And you know, that's just gonna be par for the course. Like this game is so much in active development, it's just gonna happen, and that's okay. We live and learn, and we will get that eventually. So you know, it's gonna be fun. We're definitely playing this on, as you just saw, December 12th. Well, they say December 12th. I think that might be December 11th for us. Let me have a quick Yahoo! 7 days and 20 hours. So that would be 4 plus 7 is 11. Yes, I think 11. Also think the video might be a little bit too much for the encoder, because I see we're dropping frames. Please stop dropping frames. It's okay, you don't have to drop frames anymore. We're good. And where are we? We have where's my... Oh, there's my schedule. Let's see, PoE 2 Druids launch. Yeah, that is the 12th. Okay. Yeah, so we are the 12th, and we will be playing the new PoE League. We will be leading our best furry lives. We'll become a full furry, or scaly, I guess, because I want to be a dragon. But you know, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have a good time, I hope, and I intend to. Well, I say I intend to, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll play it for as long as I want to play it. I don't know if we're gonna go fully to end game and defeating like end game bosses, whatnot. maybe we'll see. We'll stream it a fair bit, and you know, we'll see where we get to. I do hope we can get to end game, because usually in PoE 1 I do get to end game and, you know, kill some bosses, do some stuff. I've never done that in PoE 2 yet, so I do want to kind of experience that end game, and, you know, really give the game a fair shake, I suppose. We'll see how all of that goes. I am very much used to PoE 1. PoE 1 is a lot quicker than PoE 2. As you can see on the screen, like this, the move speed of the bear, for example, it looks to me very slow being used to PoE 1. So I don't know if that's something I'll be able to get used to. Maybe it's a little bit of a mindset shift. I'm tired, y'all. And yeah, we're gonna just enjoy the game, hopefully, and we'll see how all of that goes. I'll pick a build. Hopefully, maybe we'll get some builds for the dragon. If not, we'll build one ourselves. It's gonna be absolute shit, but here we are. And yeah, I do think that's it for today, though, for us. I don't have the energy to do much else. We're not going to be playing any games, so this was just the content reveal. I do think next time I am going to skip the interview, though, because that was a long interview and it was kind of boring, I think, to watch. So yeah, we'll skip that next time, and we'll just do like a little chat wrap up next league. For PoE 1 is going to be the next league after this one that's going to get announced, so that'll be probably in February, March, somewhere around there, I reckon. So yeah, anyway, that's gonna do us for now. I don't know why my chat window just went blank. Okay, my OBS is doing weird shit, and I don't know why. Okay. Sure, I guess. Let's turn off studio mode at least. So, yeah, we will go and raid some people. Because there is some people online. And usually we don't get to raid these people because the people are usually not online. I watch a lot of like what's it called? A lot of Americans, apparently. That's the people I found. So yeah, we will go and say hi to Pinky Punchy, who is an amazing young person. She's very funny. She's great people, and she is streaming some, and I quote, Toxic Yuri, Toxic Yuri, Toxic Yuri is the title of her stream. And I don't know what the game is that she's playing. Oh, games plus demos, so it's various demos. Yeah, we'll go say hi to Pinky. Hi Pip, I see your chat in the preview, but my Twitch, like my OBS is being weird, so I can't see it in the chat. So let me grab my actual chat. Here we go. That's not what, no, that's not. Hi babe, hello. I see your chat now. How you doing? We are just about to head out, so yeah, thank you for stopping by. Definitely give Pinky a look if you want, if you're up for that. I should probably enter the raid command, shouldn't I? Otherwise that's not really gonna, like, there's nothing that's gonna happen. So Pinky Punchy, there we go. We have started the raid. I should probably also do the thing with the... I've been lurking, just wanted to drop a heart. Oh, okay. Thank you for lurking. Thank you for stopping by and hanging out. That was amazing. I hope you had a blast. I did enjoy it. Although, yeah, we're definitely not doing the interview next time. That was a bit much. Yeah. People keep, like, when I'm watching someone, they can, like, do the raid instantly. I don't know how that works. I don't know where they do that. I don't have a button to do that. I have one to cancel it, but I don't have one to, like, go do the raid now. So unless it does it when you, like, stop streaming, but I don't know. Instead we'll just do... Oh wait, OBS gives you the raid now options. Is that in a Twitch chat doc? Cause I don't. Or if you do it through the Twitch control panel, it also gives you the same option. Yeah, well, I do have the Twitch control panel open, but is it like a what is it? Quick actions? Raid channel? Is that it? Oh. We're already raiding. So